community. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. They offer early memory loss classes. They take care of people in your family who have dementia symptoms or other related cognitive declines. I'll tell you what, I've been in their facilities. They're special. They're incredible. I have an aunt who's in a facility. I know what it means to make sure your family's in the right place. That's Azura. It's compassion and empathy. Wisconsin-based and family-owned. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, AzuraLiving.com.
The countdown to opening day is on. Get your tickets for an action-packed 2024 Brewers season now. That's any game you want, any way you want. All season, featuring brand new giveaways, brand new theme nights and community nights, can't miss ticket deals, and all the season's best Brewers action. Make sure you're here for every moment. Check out the complete schedule and grab your seats now at brewers.com/tickets.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Lillard thought about the three. Now good bounce pass inside to Giannis, who ramps it home with a two-hand.
The Bucks are in Memphis against the Grizzlies, with our coverage starting tonight at 7 on your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 12 o'clock. We have cloudy skies, 37 degrees, increasing cloudiness tonight, chilly with an overnight low of 23. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. New details about the shooting in Kansas City at the end of the Chiefs' victory rally on Wednesday.
Police in Kansas City say it was an argument between several people, not an orchestrated attack that led to the gunfire. During the argument, the shooting unfolded and innocent bystanders were caught in the gunfire. Chief Stacy Graves.
We have subjects detained, 2 of which are juvenile.
She says several guns have also been recovered. A radio DJ was killed in the shooting, and nearly 24 more people were injured. Alex Stone, ABC News.
The Milwaukee Public Safety and Health Committee meeting today to review city ambulance policies. This as calls for change continue in the wake of Jolene Waldrof's death at a Milwaukee bus stop in January. Today's meeting will discuss improving the response to emergency calls and the city's agreements with private ambulance companies. Milwaukee Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky has until Monday to report on those policies. Residents once again calling for Milwaukee Housing Authority President Willie Hines Jr. to resign over the state of their properties. During a protest at City Hall, resident Betty Newton says she feels as if the organization doesn't care about them.
So how can you say you respond to residents?
Silence speaks loud.
Because you do not. So you can't see the residents that are standing behind me that wanted to show you how they feel and what they live with.
Residents were told there would be a face-to-face meeting with Hackham, but it was moved to Zoom. A new energy project could become the city of Milwaukee's largest solar power installation, a proposal pending with the Milwaukee Common Council that would convert a 15-acre parcel on a landfill near Milwaukee Mitchell to a solar field, for which the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports We Energies would pay $15,000 a year for the lease. Under a separate agreement connected to the project, the city would receive renewable energy credits that would count toward Milwaukee's goal of getting 25% of the electricity it uses for city buildings, streetlights, and the HOP streetcar from renewable sources by 2025. A hearing in Fulton County Court focused on the romantic relationship DA Fonnie Willis has had with one of the attorneys she hired to investigate former President Donald Trump. One of Trump's co-defendants is trying to get Willis tossed from the racketeering case.
DA Fonnie Willis's disqualification would hinge on whether she financially benefited from her relationship with a member of her team. Willis and Nathan Wade have attested in court papers that their coupling began in 2022. But her former friend and employee, Robin Yearty, told defense attorney Ashley Merchant that she saw the pair hugging and kissing sooner.
It's your understanding that they were in a romantic relationship beginning in 2019.
Yes.
On the stand, Wade insisted that's not right.
2022.
Judge Scott McAfee will decide whom to believe. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News.
Meanwhile, Trump is in a New York City courtroom where his motion to dismiss his case involving alleged hush money payments paid to an adult film actress has been denied. A feature-length documentary on Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo premieres next week. Producer and director of the film, Kristen Lapis, on Wisconsin's Morning News, says we'll understand better than we ever have how important family is to Giannis.
If his family had never got their visas and were able to move over here, I'm not sure that he would have had an NBA career. And I'm being totally honest.
Giannis, The Marvelous Journey takes you from childhood in Greece through Giannis's championship season with the Bucks. It premieres on Prime Video and select theaters on Monday. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 172 points, 38,588. NASDAQ is down 16. The S&P 500 is up 10. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
For your next night out, make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel, your dinner destination. Aria, nestled on the second floor of St. Kate, is an artful dining experience that captivates with its culinary creativity. Delighting in its offering of artisanal American cuisine, the restaurant transcends tradition and leans into the realm of playful and inventive flavors. Come and experience the magic of Aria, where every bite is a work of culinary artistry. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com.
Stop in at Fleet Farm for one of the biggest selections of Milwaukee tools around. Milwaukee's raised the bar on heavy-duty performance, and we've got over 1,100 Milwaukee tools and accessories to help you crush that to-do list. Like the M18 cordless 2-tool combo kit. 400 pounds of torque packed into just 4 pounds of compact drill driver plus 2 batteries. Shop all the top brands we carry to help you power through everyday life at Fleet Farm.
Disability Rights Wisconsin's Medicare Part D helpline is here to help disabled or elderly Medicare beneficiaries with questions about their Part D prescription benefit. The Part D helpline may be able to help you save money on your Part D premium, deductible, and copays. Medicare annual open enrollment period runs October 15th through December 7th. For free, unbiased assistance, please call the Disability Rights Wisconsin Medicare Part D helpline any time of the year at 1-800-926-4862. 1-800-926-4862.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through the end of February, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has provided more than 2.4 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
One person is dead and 21 others were wounded by gunfire in a mass shooting at the end of the Chiefs Super Bowl parade on Wednesday afternoon. 3 people have been detained and are currently under investigation. Of the people wounded by gunfire, 8 were in immediately life-threatening condition and 6 had minor injuries. Over to the NBA, where the Milwaukee Bucks will have one more chance to get back into the win column before the All-Star festivities take place this weekend. Bucks Grizzlies tonight from Memphis, tip-off set for 7:30. And lastly, over to college hoops, for the UWM Panthers got a bounce-back win on Wednesday night, defeating Cleveland State on the road in a close one, winning 71-68.
Pullian deep three, bucket, just the way they drew it up.
Next up for the 13-13 Panthers is a home game against Northern Kentucky on Saturday night.
I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads now with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Just some minor delays. The construction area, there are ramps closed along I-43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to downtown. That's going to take you about a 15-minute drive this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by the Harley-Davidson Museum. Don't miss the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show and the HD Factory Outlet Sale in Rumble on the Harley-Davidson Museum's campus from February 22nd through the 25th.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast, increasing cloudiness tonight with chilly temperatures. An overnight low of 23, mostly cloudy and 32 tomorrow. Partly cloudy, breezy on Saturday, a high 31. It's mostly sunny on Sunday, 39 for the high, and then warming up to 43 on Monday under partly cloudy skies. Right now, Madison 32 degrees, Green Bay 34, Milwaukee 37. I'm Connie Weber. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:07.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now here's Joe Zepecki.
Good Thursday afternoon. This is Joe Zepecki back with you for another Thursday afternoon 3-hour ride. This, of course, the real estate formerly hosted by the estimable Jeff Wagner. And now we know who will be here next week starting on Monday. No more of this fill-in stuff where you get strange voices and one person one day and somebody else the next day. Kristen Bry is going to be spanning the state from 1 to 3 o'clock every weekday starting on Monday. I guess I forgot to check the lineup and see who was 11 to 1. I want to say that's an expanded midday news. Do I have that right, Aaron?
Yeah, it's Wisconsin Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
There you go. Thanks for being here with us today. We've got a couple of fine guests in the next few hours. We're going to be hearing from State Senator Brad Pfaff, who represents Western Wisconsin, former state agriculture secretary, also a former candidate for Congress. He's worked on Capitol Hill and for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, giving us some perspective from Western Wisconsin, the Cooley region. We're also going to have Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. There is so much going on at the county level here in southeast Wisconsin, starting to be a very important time of year for county government and for local governments across the state of Wisconsin when it comes time to do the county budget. Municipal budgets are due. And then in the 2 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with Caroline Gomez-Tom from Covering Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin recently wrapped open enrollment period. This is the time of year where anybody, for any reason, can opt into an Affordable Care Act marketplace health care plan and get they and their family covered for the year ahead. So we'll have some guests. We'll have some fun. We always try to. And I got to level with you folks. I'm watching the news this week, and I'm feeling like everything is pretty stupid. I don't think I'm alone, but if you have some words of encouragement to cheer me up, let me hear them on the WTMJ talk and text line 855-616-1620. We're going to get to some of the more serious news throughout this hour. After the break, I want to talk about what happened in Kansas City yesterday, but I want to start with just one example of how stupid everything is right now, which is that Speaker Mike Johnson has canceled votes on Capitol Hill tomorrow. So the U.S. House of Representatives is going to go home for 13 days for a President's Day recess when the U.S. government will shut down in 15 days if there is not a funding bill sent through Congress and to the president's desk. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I've got a deadline at work and I need to get something done, that's not usually the time that I choose to go on recess or take a bunch of time off. And so how is it that in the midst of a really bad stretch for Speaker Johnson, who has been failing in his job, and this has nothing to do with whether he's a Republican or a Democrat, by any objective measure, speakers of the House should be able to control the floor of Congress and bring the bills they want to be voted on to the floor. And this speaker can't even get that done. That's how bad at his job he is proving to be. And so rather than say, you know what, folks, we got a big deadline. We got a government that's going to grind to a halt March 1st. Let's stay in. Let's get this work done. Let's figure it out. He's sending everybody home for 13 days. And then they're going to come back and they're going to have 2 days, 48 hours to work it all out. And this lurching from deadline to deadline, I mean, Congress is worse than like a college freshman when it comes to procrastinating. And I was a college freshman. I know they procrastinate. It was a long time ago. I assume they still do. But we have to be better than that. And part of what makes it difficult to be any better than that is yesterday, everybody on Capitol Hill gets all up in a tizzy because Russia's got something that we don't know about. Yeah, they do. Every advanced developed nation has military capabilities that the general public doesn't know about. And for a Republican, Mike Turner, I believe was his name, from Ohio, to come out and say, I'm calling on the Biden administration to immediately declassify. We need to know about this. And then for other members of Congress to come out of the same briefing and say, everybody take a breath. It's not aliens, but it is confirmation that there is no sign of intelligent life in Congress. Really shows you the divide. So I have that off my chest now. I'm going to try to recenter and be a little more positive going forward. After the break, we are going to take a few minutes to talk about what happened in Kansas City yesterday. Come on back after this.
If you missed this,
Deputy Christine Rodriguez is with us. Do you feel like the relationship has begun to change, or how certain sectors of the community look at law enforcement has changed?
I would say it's moving in the right direction.
or this,
Chief, do you find value in having student resource officers? And is there a connection point where you can build that positive relationship between officer and student?
The answer is yes, yes, and a resounding yes.
check out Wisconsin's Afternoon News, the podcast.
For over 75 years, Runnings stores have earned the reputation for quality brands, fair value, and hometown-friendly service. Now Runnings is bringing those same values to you. Runnings is now open in your community. Find the widest variety of everything you and your family need for your home, on the farm, and in the outdoors. Runnings is proud to live, work, and serve in local communities across the Midwest, the Northeast, and America's heartland. Runnings is your new home, farm, and outdoor store. We look forward to seeing you soon. Learn more about us at runnings.com.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Welcome back to AM 620 WTMJ. I guess we still don't have a title for this. The Afternoon Conversations with Joe Zepecki in for the next few hours. Who you got tomorrow, Aaron? Who's in the chair?
Tomorrow is Tracy Johnson.
Tracy Johnson back at you tomorrow. Starting next week, Kristen Bry, 5 days a week. Thank you, sir. I teased this before the break, and I do want to just talk for a few moments about what happened in Kansas City yesterday. If you want to weigh in, the talk and text line is open, 855-616-1620. For regular listeners of the Political Power Hour, which I do alongside Bill McCoshen with Steve Scafidi on Friday mornings, you know football is very, very important to me. I played, I coach. I've been coaching for this fall will be my 7th consecutive season. I love football. Huge Packer fan. My wife's a 49er fan. We won't get into that, but it did make for some stressful football watching on Sunday. And what happened yesterday in Kansas City impacts me differently than it may impact you. And similarly to ways that all of us have been impacted by gun violence. Even if we have not been personally touched by it, we now live in an America where there is nowhere that these mass shootings don't touch. Everybody goes to a house of worship or the movie theater or a school to learn or pick up your kids or a college campus to figure out what you want to do with your life. And sometimes a parade. Hey, right here in the city of Milwaukee, we had a parade not too long ago when the Milwaukee Bucks brought home a championship. And we saw that if we weren't there that day, and we felt the joy that that brought and how exciting it was to be a part of. And so yesterday, to somebody who loves the way that football brings people together and teaches young people about life and brings communities together people from different backgrounds, different walks of life, who have different politics, who otherwise may never have met or sat next to each other on a bleacher for a couple hours. That's what football is to me, is a place for that to happen. And for that type of joy to be shattered yet again by gun violence is really depressing. And I can't help but view it as unacceptable. And I don't think I'm the only one. In fact, I know I'm not the only one who feels that way, because there were politicians yesterday who stood up and said, we don't have to live like this. There are things that we can do to make it a little bit tougher for the wrong people to get access to the wrong weapons. And my least favorite counter argument to doing something about gun violence is, well, you'll never stop all the shootings. No, we won't. But we'll never stop all the murders either, and we still have laws about murdering people in this country. And in my view, continuing to do nothing is not an option. Thank goodness that so far there's only been one fatality from yesterday's shooting. But 21 other people were shot. 3 of those people are still fighting for their life. And the 3 people in custody who are allegedly responsible for this were young people, 2 of them actually juveniles, who had a disagreement, who got in a fight and decided to settle it with guns. That's not how it used to be. There are a lot of times that this notion of going back to the good old days in the 1950s, the 1960s, and things were so much simpler then. There's a lot of times that argument is total crap, because this country didn't work for a lot of people in the 1950s and the 1960s. But in the 1950s and 1960s, and even 1970s, and even when I was growing up in the 1980s, if you had a disagreement, the worst that was going to happen was you're going to get in a fist fight with a kid on the playground. And now we've got juveniles running around with weapons that have no place in a society, that should be reserved for highly trained military members. And so I would just urge people to think about this and to ask themselves where they think they can go, where there's no chance that this could happen when they're in attendance, at church, at a party, at a movie, at a concert, you name it, it can happen, because there are too many guns and not enough common sense regulations to make sure that only those who are capable of handling that enormous responsibility have access to those firearms. We've got a few texts. I'll read them after the break. We'll continue this conversation before we welcome State Senator Brad Pfaff on AM 620 WTMJ.
A new lineup is coming to WTMJ, debuting February 19th, starting at 5 a.m. The Midwest Farm Report with Pan Yonke. From 6 to 9 is Wisconsin's Morning News with Vince Petrano and Eric Bilstad. Starting at 9, the Political Power Hour with Steve Scafidi. At 10, catch The Upswing with Jeff Sherman. From 11 to 1, Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty. At 3, Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure and Julia Fellow. At 6, What's on Tap with Sandy Max. And at 7, WTMJ at Night with Brian Noonan. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source for news, traffic, weather, and sports. On air, online, and on demand. Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing, because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Buthan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you quality name brand workwear and footwear because we get you. From the farm to the job site to your own backyard, we have great deals on your favorite rugged styles for spring. Like men's Wrangler 5-star jeans. Buy one, get one half price. Men's Rustler jeans are $15.99. Rewards members save an extra $1 and get a free $20 Blaine's gift card when you spend $100 on area jeans. We get you what you need because we get you at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Kaiser Automotive will help find your perfect vehicle match or give your current vehicle the attention it needs. After all, love is in the details. You'll get spoiled with our sales and service offers and receive our Safe and Sound program with each sale. This includes the exchange program. Don't love it? Exchange it. Convenient service with our new mobile service van. This means we'll come to you. Get lifetime roadside assistance and more. Your vehicle date awaits. At Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
Welcome back to WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki, filling in on a Thursday afternoon. Tracy Johnson will be back tomorrow. We were talking about Kansas City, and I mentioned, seems to me there's some things we can do. There's some things that have already been done. Last year, President Biden and a bipartisan group in the United States Congress passed the first meaningful gun safety legislation in about 30 years. Didn't do everything I'd like to see. Didn't do everything the president wanted, but it was a compromise. And it strengthened some things like red flag laws, made some resources available for states to put programs in place so that if an individual who owns firearms is having a tough time, maybe in a little bit of a crisis, where their mental health isn't what it typically is, there is an adjudicated process in concert with appeals and law enforcement and the judicial system to make sure that those firearms can be safely removed from those individuals' custody and then returned when they are feeling better and in a better place. That makes sense. Not every state has done it. And while Congress has acted, we know that across the country there's a patchwork of states that have very different laws. Missouri, as I understand it, has one of the most open rules, procedures, policies, call them what you will, when it comes to open carry, access to concealed weapons, all of that. So what can we do? Yesterday, President Biden, responding to the tragedy, asking how many more families need to be torn apart and saying, quote, "It's time for Congress to finally act to ban assault weapons, limit high-capacity magazines, strengthen background checks, and keep guns out of the hands of those who have no business owning them." I don't know why any of those things are controversial or can't get done. If you walk into a gun store, you have to go through a background check process. But if you go to a gun show, you don't have to. That seems like a pretty important loophole to try to close. High-capacity magazines, 30-plus rounds, bump stocks, things that do nothing for the sport shooter or the hunter. You ain't using an AR-15 on Bambi. You're just not. And so the notion that you need 30 rounds to a magazine and civilians should be able to purchase that doesn't make sense to me. And so there are more things that can be done. We've got a few folks on the text line weighing in from the 920. How about prosecuting the criminals, including juveniles who commit adult crimes? Absolutely. You break the law, you face the consequences. There have long been uppers, enhancers to the charges for crimes if you commit them while in possession of a gun, even if you don't fire the gun, right? We need a justice system that works. That means resourcing prosecutors. That means resourcing in smart ways local law enforcement. We absolutely have to do more. From the 414, why doesn't Biden make sure those bad people don't cross the border first? How's that for a misdirect? The kids who are in custody right now in Kansas City didn't come from Mexico. I don't know how you conflate that. I'm sorry. If you've got a point to make, let's make it. Let's have a civil conversation and be reasonable about this. But these are pretty common sense things we can do. And if it means there's 1 or 2 less shootings, great. Because right now we live in an America where there's basically a mass shooting 1 per day. We have more guns than we do people in this country. And it is a uniquely American problem, the incidence of gun violence. We are an outlier when it comes to gun deaths, but not to overall crime. We got to wrap this up. I'll try to get to some more texts on it, but after the break, we are going to be talking with Wisconsin State Senator Brad Pfaff. He represents Western Wisconsin. He has a bill currently pending in the legislature on health care. I know there was also some news this week about some of the challenges facing rural hospitals. I want to talk to him about that. I want to talk to him about how he views the unique challenges confronting our democracy. It's going to be a great conversation with a great friend of mine and a great public servant, Brad Pfaff. After the break, come on back.
Vince Vetrano for Connect Chiropractic. Been seeing Dr. Alex and his team since the summer. Talking with a fellow patient, she came to Connect Chiropractic years ago, debilitating migraines. Couldn't go to work or school. Now her headaches are gone. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. The chiropractors use a special tool for all your adjustments. Just a few clicks every visit to restore proper nerve and muscle function. Chiropractic care can help boost your immune system. Find out how at a free workshop this February. Check the website for information. It's Go Connect Chiro. That's GoConnectChiro.com.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, your local family-owned developer of personal outdoor dreamscapes, has added the ultimate backyard feature. That's right, spend all summer, every summer on vacation in your own backyard with a classic in-ground swimming pool. You've dreamed about it. Now take your dream ideas to Outdoor Living Unlimited. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, and now your own swimming pool. See it all at OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com, then put them to work for you. Outdoor Living Unlimited.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Welcome back to AM 620 WTMJ. This is Joe Zepecki. I'm filling in this afternoon and have a great guest on the line, State Senator Brad Pfaff. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful, Joe. Great to hear your voice. And good afternoon, southeastern Wisconsin.
Where are you calling us from today?
I am in the Wisconsin State Capitol today, but I am bringing you greetings from the people in the Driftless region of west central Wisconsin. So
we love it.
Calling to say thank you for your work, Joe.
Of course. Well, we love it. We appreciate somebody going to work. We've already talked about how Congress has taken 13 days off out of the next 15. But don't get me started on that again, because Brad Pfaff, state senator, has a bill before the legislature right now on an issue near and dear to you and your family and your constituents regarding the cost of insulin. Tell us what this bill would do and why this is something you're so passionate about.
Well, this is a simple, straightforward bill, and it would cap the price of insulin at $35 per month. Joe, I'll tell you what, insulin is a life-saving medication. It has been around for over 100 years. This is not something that anybody who has type 1 or type 2 diabetes can go without. They need to have insulin every day, multiple times a day. And we need to do better in order to make sure that we have a price of insulin that recognizes the fact that this is a life-saving medication. It's been around for over 100 years. It costs the pharmaceutical companies pennies on the dollar in order to make a vial of it, but yet it is people are being charged way too much in order to have this life-saving medication. So I am following the lead that was put in place at the federal level to cap insulin at $35 a month for residents. And I think that that is generous enough to make sure that the pharmaceutical companies will continue to make this life-saving drug, and it will also make sure that no one goes without this, because way too many people in this state have or understand the seriousness of diabetes. My son is a type 1 diabetic, and I love my son dearly. It is his 23rd birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.
Yeah, we're so proud. But the thing is, between Christmas and New Year's of 2015, my son got sick, and he was losing an awful lot of weight, and he wasn't eating, and he was always thirsty. And my wife and I, we didn't know what was going on. And we were very anxious. We didn't know what was going on with our son. And then a couple days after Christmas, we were returning some Christmas gifts to Walmart. And my son looked at me and he said, "Dad, I can't see. Everything is blurry." And Joe, I knew right then and there that my son was sick.
Yeah.
And we took him to the emergency room at a hospital in La Crosse. And within minutes, the physician that was doing the ER work said, your son is a diabetic type 1. And, of course, Joe, he's got a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
And he has a pre-existing condition for the rest of his life. And like any father, I want to make sure that my son has opportunities to move forward. And that's why we need to make sure that, we recognize the fact that we've got to have insulin prices that are affordable, but we also got to fight like hell for an insurance coverage that protects people with pre-existing conditions, doesn't put in place any type of lifetime caps, and holds these pharmaceutical companies accountable for some of these high prices that they're charging, not just for insulin, but also for other life-saving medication.
Indeed. You mentioned the following the lead of the federal government. So we know that in the Inflation Reduction Act, enacted into law, passed by only Democrats, signed into law by Joe Biden, right now is the law of the land that no senior on Medicare can be charged more than $35 a month for their insulin.
That's right.
And what that did is it started to send a signal to the drug makers. And so a couple of them have, of their own accord, started to bring down those prices. So your bill would just apply to the state of Wisconsin and basically forbid, sellers from charging more than $35 a month. Does that cost the state anything to enact something like this?
Absolutely not. And 22 other states have already passed similar legislation. 22 other states have already passed similar legislation. Wisconsin should be the 23rd.
I'm afraid, without even knowing the answer to this question, we're probably one of those islands again, surrounded by Minnesota and Iowa and Illinois and Michigan and places where they've already done this. But I won't hold you to that answer, because before the break, I do want to get your reaction to some reporting in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel this week about the state of rural hospitals and rural health care in Wisconsin. We have known for a long time that reimbursement rates and just the way that the healthcare industry has been evolving has been a challenge. But for the most part, Wisconsin had been able to kind of dodge having to close rural hospitals. It sounds like access is getting away from us a little bit, and there might be some really tough choices facing people in rural communities. Can you provide some perspective on that from where you sit, which is representing a more rural part of the state than many of our listeners live in?
Yes, and thank you for asking that. It was recently announced in the Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire area that two hospitals that are owned together by the HSHS system have announced their closures. And I am afraid, and many of us are afraid, both Republicans and Democrats, that this could be a domino effect, that we will see additional rural hospitals, critical care hospitals that will close. And what that means for rural health care, what it means for paternal care, maternal care, what it means for making sure that our elderly, our parents and grandparents have access, to their doctors and to the life-saving medication that they rely upon, is maybe at risk. And we are worried about that. Now, there's some things that we can do besides just having press conferences and talking about it. Some simple, straightforward things. One of the things we can do, Joe, is we can expand Badger Care in Wisconsin right now. We have left, as a state, well over $1 billion at the table in Washington, D.C. for other states to spend when it comes to federal Medicaid expansion dollars that we could use for Badger Care. This would help rural residents as well as urban residents and suburban residents. But we have not done that. Why? Because of partisan politics. And that is what's so very disappointing. In fact, Joe, 40 other states have accepted expanded federal Medicaid dollars. Wisconsin has not. And there's no reason why we have not. Zero reason. The reason why it hasn't happened is because of partisan politics. Republican as well as Democratic states have accepted these dollars.
Yes, they have.
We have not done it. And It's so disappointing. And I'll tell you, this is a sad situation that we have right now in the Chippewa Valley and in Eau Claire. And we are coming together as both rural legislators from Republicans and Democrats, recognizing the fact that we've got to make sure that we keep these critical care and these rural hospitals functioning in this state.
There's more we can do. Senator, I gotta get to a break here, but we're talking with Senator Brad Pfaff. For anybody who wants to learn more about your insulin legislation, can you just give them the bill number quick so they can look this up? Is that SB?
Oh, I'd be happy to. It is Senate Bill 574.
SB 574. Look it up. That's Brad Pfaff, state senator from Western Wisconsin. I'm Joe Zepecki. We'll have more with the senator after this.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
Imagine, if you will, a wonderland of vehicles. An entire convention center filled with the things you love to drive. It's the Milwaukee Auto Show at the Baird Center downtown, February 24th through March 3rd. Immerse yourself in the latest new cars, new trucks, SUVs, luxury vehicles, classics, and this year, we even have an indoor electric vehicle ride course. It's a wonderland of vehicles. Everything all in one place, all in a non-selling environment. It's a great place to comparison shop. The Milwaukee Auto Show. Save big on tickets. Go to autoshowmilwaukee.com.
At All Right Home and Remodeling, we get lots of compliments on our work. But our favorite compliment is a repeat customer. We get lots of those too. It's what happens when you do the job right and you treat your customers right. It's how my family has been helping homeowners replace their windows, siding, doors, insulation, and more for over 50 years now. Visit us at ALLRITE remodeling.com.
All right, home and remodeling.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GIFT for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code GIFT.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, clicked on the blue button. One of our senior loan consultants, Brad, sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and then upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. They made a couple offers without success, and then Brad told them about AccuNet's new property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval included that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with a local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win and save money too. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Welcome back to WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki. We're talking with State Senator Brad Pfaff, and the senator already getting some praise from the 262 on our text line. Too many older yet not Medicare eligible adults are still paying absurdly high, unaffordable costs for insulin. They think the proposed state legislation would be greatly welcomed, all caps. So no pressure, Senator. You got to get it done.
I want to get it done. There's no reason why we do not get it done. It should be a no-brainer.
I do. So I've known Senator Pfaff for a long time, and when I think about public service, I think about my friend Brad. I hope I can call you Brad after all these years. Sure. What folks may not know is that in addition to serving in the state Senate currently, you have also served as State Secretary of Agriculture. You served in the Obama administration at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You worked on Capitol Hill. You have really spent your adult life working in government. And because of that, I know how important and dear to you our system and our democracy is. And I'm wondering if you could share your perspective on what many people are describing as democracy at risk, democracy under threat. There are those who would tell you it's only about one particular presidential candidate. There are others who would tell you it's a much deeper risk due to foreign adversaries, due to a lack of trust in institutions. How are you feeling about the state of American democracy, Senator Pfaff?
Well, I like everyone else, am a little anxious about what is happening right now. I do believe that there have been efforts to destabilize our democracy, and I think it is something that is unfortunate. I think it is something that we need to recognize that we can do better here. I'll just say this. I do believe that there's more that unites us as a people than divides us. I strongly believe that there are I know there's people on both the left and the right that are proud patriots, and they love this country dearly, and they will fight like hell to protect this country. And I think that we need to recognize the fact that we here in this country, we have the world's longest democracy, and we need to make sure that we continue to protect that and move forward. But so what we do not need to do is we do not need to start dividing ourselves as hard as we're dividing ourselves. And what is happening is the peer partisanship that has taken place, and it's really breaking down our form of government. And by breaking down our form of government, it leads to a lack of trust. Yeah. By this lack of trust that we have with one another, it is splintering us as a people. It's splintering us as a community.
A way that I think about a lot of the work I do, people say you're working in something or you're working on something. And the work in a democracy is controlling the border and immigration and agriculture policy and healthcare costs. But once in a while, you have to work on the government and on democracy itself. When you look at what's happening at the federal level, at the state level, are there pieces of legislation you look to and say, that's something that if we could get it done, would make the system work a little better? What are the examples of that? I do
believe there's efforts that are taking place at the federal level if we can actually move beyond some of this rigid partisanship. I believe there's a legislation out there that is – the name of it is the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. This legislation advances democracy. It advances democracy. It does not have a partisan aim. It is to make sure that the rights that all of us have now and are that we can continue to move forward, and we can make sure that we continue to be a beacon and a light for the rest of the world. There are things that are bipartisan that have now become rigidly partisan, which is so unfortunate. Such things as making sure, and Wisconsin led the nation, was one of the leaders when it came to same-day voter registration. Now all of a sudden, this has become partisan.
Yeah.
As far as making sure that we have access to early voting, I mean that's important. Wisconsin has early voting, but yet here in this building, in the state capitol, there's been countless questions that have been brought up about that. Making sure that we can have volunteer election observers. All of a sudden, this has become extremely partisan. It is just very unfortunate. The efforts to suppress and the efforts to question, what's taking place with our elections. It is very dispiriting. It's causing us long-term harm as a nation, and it's something that we can do better. We need to do better as a society, and we need to recognize the fact that people around the world are watching us. But most importantly, our sons and daughters are watching us and the behavior that we're exhibiting right now.
Yeah, I'd add one more thing to that list because I think we have to talk about it all the time. The folks who run our elections, the folks who are checking you in when you go to your polling place. These are grandmas and grandpas and the people we go to church with and the people we see at the ball game. It's not some hidden hand. These are our neighbors. And the ways that they are now like under threat and under pressure means it's less likely that they're going to step up and give of their time and their labors to do that and make sure we have well-run elections. It's infuriating. Senator, name the two bills again. What were the two federal pieces of legislation?
Well, it's the Freedom to Vote Act, and then the other bill is the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. These are complementary measures that if we did these together, Joe, they would protect the sacred right to vote for all of us.
That's great.
And it would also protect the integrity of current elections and elections going forward.
And we got to do that. We've got some big ones coming in the next couple of years. We got about a minute before I got to get you out of here, Senator. Anything else going on in the Capitol we should know about? What's the latest on the maps?
Well, I will say this. First of all, we cannot adjourn out of this legislature without fixing this child care crisis that we have in this state. We need to make sure that we get that done. And I ask your voters to continue, or your listeners to continue to call in on that. We need to make sure that we continue to invest in programs that help our working families. Working families are the backbone of this state, and we need to make sure that we provide them with the tools that they need to succeed. So I sure hope that the legislature focuses on working families and just moves away from this special interest partisan politics. We don't need that.
Well said. That is Senator Brad Pfaff, who represents the western part of the state. You are listening to AM 620 WTMJ. If you want to respond to anything that the senator said, the talk and text line is open, 855-616-1620. We'll be back after a short break. Senator, thank you so much for making the time, and good luck with the rest of the session.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for everything. Have a good day.
Talk soon. More after this.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday afternoon at 1. At Creative Planning, we have an entire team working for you, including wealth advisors, CPAs, and attorneys, all working together, all in one place. Let Creative Planning show you a richer way to wealth. Visit creativeplanning.com. That's creativeplanning.com.
Many companies, ours included, just completed the open enrollment process for their workforce. Here is Jeff Salazinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance.
Thank you, Vince. 2/3 of employers we asked tell us they want to better educate their employees regarding the benefits offered. By increasing benefits literacy, there's a much higher satisfaction rate amongst employees. Increasing the learning only during the 2 to 3 week annual enrollment window is insufficient. Employee education should be a year-round endeavor.
So, Jeff, what's the solution?
At R&R Insurance, we help employers brand their benefits packages in a customized, easy to understand fashion, taking out the complex and confusing nature of shopping for health insurance. With our latest mobile technology, your employees will have easy, immediate access to benefit information for themselves and their families 24/7. At R&R Insurance, we know employee benefits.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Siding Unlimited named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Aaron figured out how old I am and what my decade of music is. Can you tell, listeners? This is Joe Zepecki. You're listening to AM 620 WTMJ. I want to thank Senator Brad Pfaff again for joining us. We were talking about healthcare. He's got a great bill to try to sort of match what the feds have done for seniors on Medicare when it comes to their insulin costs. He also, of course, mentioned Medicaid expansion. Medicaid, of course, here in the state of Wisconsin is referred to as Badger Care. If you want to weigh in on any of these, the talk and text line is open, 855-616-1620. We've got one from the 262. Republicans here stubbornly insist that they don't want to expand Medicaid because they don't want perceived future risk of having the federal subsidies reduced and then having to make up the difference from state dollars. Hence, they insist on staying away from the program. Yes, that is one of the arguments that Republicans have used for almost 15 years to not accept the federal expansion of Medicaid. Here's the problem. It's been 15 years. Next month will mark the 15th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act being signed into law. In those 15 years, you heard Senator Pfaff talk about it, 40 different states, including states way more conservative than Wisconsin, like Oklahoma, who haven't elected a Democrat to anything in I don't know how long, but it's been a minute. They have expanded Medicaid. North Carolina, another place where there's deep divisions and deep partisan fighting in the politics and a lot of negative partisanship, they found a way to get it done. And if after 15 years, the federal government has not cut back the amount of federal support that they committed to 15 years ago when they passed the bill, maybe, just maybe, we should be getting some of our tax dollars back. And that is the point. We are still subsidizing those other 40 states and their health care programs due to the stubbornness of Republicans in Wisconsin. And it is Republicans, because Tony Evers would sign this in a heartbeat. Democrats in the legislature would sign it in a heartbeat. And I am just here to tell you that the lack of expansion is a workforce issue, because I have talked to countless folks over the years through work I do with an organization called Protect Our Care, who say they limit the hours they work because they're afraid of going over the income limit. And if they go even $10 above it, they can't afford health insurance in the open market. We hear politicians talk about a workforce shortage. I'm suspect. I think we have a good jobs shortage. But if that type of story doesn't stick with you and go, wait, really? If somebody works too many hours and they make a couple $100 over the limit, all of a sudden they're going to have to pay $10,000 a year for a healthcare plan. That doesn't work. So I want to thank Senator Pfaff for reminding us about the need to expand Medicaid in the great state of Wisconsin. And I want to let you know that after the break, we are going to be visited by Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Lots to talk about. We'll have him for at least a couple of segments live in studio. That's next on News Radio WTMJ.
You're gonna love it, you're gonna love it all when you shop at St. Vincent de Paul. Old things, new things here for you. We're always changing, we're always new. So many friendly people, smiles from wall to wall. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Transform your bathroom like we did. It's Sidex, S-I-D-E-X, Sidex. Take out that conventional bathtub, put in a walk-in shower. That's what we did at our house. It's beautiful. It's open. It's transformed our bathroom. And right now with Sidex, you get $750 off any bathtub or shower replacement. They serve within 60 miles of Milwaukee. It's Sidex. They did the work at our house. It was quick. It was affordable. It was efficient. And our bathroom is beautiful. Go with the company we trust, Sidex. Free shower door upgrade when you mention WTMJ or John Mercure.
Lillard thought about the three. Now good bounce pass inside to Giannis, who ramps it home with a two-hand
The Bucks are in Memphis against the Grizzlies with our coverage starting tonight at 7 on your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
1 o'clock, we have mostly sunny skies, 37 degrees, increasing cloudiness tonight, chilly with an overnight low of 23. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Former President Donald Trump facing a March 25th trial date related to hush money payments he allegedly paid to an adult film actress. Trump was in a New York City courtroom today when a judge denied his legal team's motion to dismiss. Meanwhile, another Trump legal team is in an Atlanta courtroom arguing to have Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis removed from the former president's Georgia election case due to having an allegedly improper relationship with her top lawyer. On the stand, one of Willis's ex-friends, Robin Yurty, who told a Trump co-defendant's attorney she was told by Willis a romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade began when the two met at a conference.
Do you know if Miss Willis and Mr. Wade started dating in October of 2019?
I don't know if it was October of 2019.
Could it possibly be November of 2019?
Could possibly.
Wade also took the stand today. Co-defendant Mike Roman trying to get Willis and Wade removed from the case. New details about the shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs rally, which killed a radio DJ and hurt nearly 24 others.
Children make up half of the victims, and children may have been shooters. Two of the suspects detained are under the age of 18. Police Chief Stacey Graves saying it was not an orchestrated attack on the crowd, but instead it was an argument that led to gunfire.
Preliminary investigative findings have shown there was no nexus to terrorism or homegrown violent extremism.
She says multiple weapons have been recovered. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Assembly Speaker Robin Voss says a proposal that would implement state-run medical marijuana dispensaries appears to be dead this legislative session. Differing positions, he says, among Republican caucuses about how the program would be run. Voss had said in January he would not amend the proposal despite Republican concerns.
We have a very detailed bill that I am pretty sure has 50 votes in our caucus to pass. So taking and renegotiating the bill means we probably lose votes in our caucus.
A Marquette Law poll in 2019 showed 83% of Wisconsin voters approved of medical marijuana. Multi-millionaire Republican businessman Eric Hovde planning to launch a bid for U.S. Senate against Democratic incumbent Tammy Baldwin next week. Hovde previously ran for Senate in 2012, losing in the Republican primary to former Governor Tommy Thompson. Franklin businessman Scott Mayer and former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark also considering Senate runs. Other higher-profile Republicans, including U.S. Representatives Tom Tiffany and Mike Gallagher, have have opted against running. Residents once again calling for the Milwaukee Housing Authority President Willie Hines Jr. to resign over the state of their properties. Some showed up at City Hall to voice their displeasure. Residents were told there would be a face-to-face meeting with Hackham, but it was moved to Zoom. As the Brewers pitchers and catchers report to spring training today, plans are already in motion to the mark at the up-and-coming Jackson Churio. President of Business Operations Rick Schlesinger tells Wisconsin's Morning News.
This is one of those things you have to do in our market and our game with, without a salary cap and with the challenges of trying to keep your best players. You got to make decisions to invest in them early, and he made a decision, too, to invest in us.
Schlesinger also says work on the new 12,000-square-foot scoreboard at American Family Field is progressing ahead of schedule. Throwing a punch on the basketball court might draw a technical and maybe even a suspension. Detroit Pistons player Isaiah Stewart learned the consequences are more severe when it happens in an arena parking garage. Stewart arrested by Phoenix police for assault after he allegedly punched Phoenix Suns player Drew Eubanks during an altercation in the Footprint Arena garage. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 264 points at 38,688. NASDAQ is up 30 and the S&P 500 is up 24. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 104.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. It's more than a slogan to James Imaging Systems customers. For example, Melissa Clark, owner of the Blast Shop.
Yep, they are a partner. They're always there when we need them, and they are a pleasure to work with.
James Imaging Systems, a partner, a team working for your business. James customer Matt King, Associate Director for Hunger Task Force.
James Imaging staff have made the copying and document imaging within the office really easy and efficient so that we can focus on our mission.
James Imaging Systems, document imaging technology, software and workflow solutions, local service and accountability. James customer Chris McClain, co-owner of DBAT Brookfield.
They're a partner. James Imaging is a partner, not a vendor.
Start your business technology partnership with James Imaging Systems today. It's easy to do. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
The countdown to opening day is on. Get your tickets for an action-packed 2024 Brewers season now. That's any game you want, any way you want. All season, featuring brand new giveaways, brand new theme nights and community nights. Can't miss ticket deals, and all the season's best Brewers action. Make sure you're here for every moment. Check out the complete schedule and grab your seats now at brewers.com/tickets.
WTMJ's John Mercure here for senior real estate specialist Bruce and G. Nemovitz. If you've been holding off on selling your home or downsizing your parents' home, now's the time to contact Bruce and Jean. You deserve to enjoy the lifestyle you've earned. Learn how their team will guide you every step of the way. Join me at their free in-person seminar, March 5th, Berner Botanical Gardens. Doors open at 8:30, and you'll get critical info from local senior community representatives. Register at brucesteam.com, taking you from overwhelmed to I can do this. brucesteam.com.
One person is dead and 21 others were wounded by gunfire in a mass shooting at the end of the Chiefs Super Bowl parade on Wednesday afternoon. 3 people have been detained and are currently under investigation. Of the people wounded by gunfire, 8 were in immediately life-threatening condition and 6 had minor injuries. Over to the NBA, where the Milwaukee Bucks will have one more chance to get back into the win column before the All-Star festivities take place this weekend. Bucks Grizzlies tonight from Memphis, tip-off set for 7:30. And lastly, over to college hoops, for the UWM Panthers got a bounce-back win on Wednesday night, defeating Cleveland State on the road in a close one, winning 71-68.
Pullian deep three, bucket, just the way they drew it up.
Next up for the 13-13 Panthers is a home game against Northern Kentucky on Saturday night.
I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. No major problems to report out there. There was a disabled vehicle on the exit to Michigan Street from I-43 North. That has been cleared. No other delays to report. Pretty smooth sailing. 94 southbound from the Marquette Interchange to Layton Avenue, about a 6-minute drive. And 94 from the Zoo to Highway 16, running about 10 this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Richlands Tire and Service Center.
Richlands Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlands.com when you're due for service.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, increasing cloudiness tonight with an overnight low of 23, cloudy and 32 tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy on Saturday, 31, mostly sunny on Sunday with a high 39 and warming up to 43 on Monday under partly cloudy skies. Right now, Madison at 33 degrees, Green Bay at 33 as well, Milwaukee 37 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now here's Joe Zepecki.
Welcome back to News Radio 620 AM. I am Joe Zepecki, hour 2 on a Thursday, and we have a very special guest in studio, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I always have a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
To see me, right? Because I'm not usually here. This ain't about the radio station. This is about me, right?
No, it's always a pleasure to see you, but I also like being here at 620 as well.
That's right. So you are a busy guy, and I couldn't help but notice. I've got a problem. I'm trying to work on it, but I can't get off Twitter. I just can't. And I'm scrolling through Twitter, and it's a lot of drivel and it's a lot of nonsense. But then I see a photo of two pretty good-looking guys.
Oh, which photo was this?
Joe Biden and David Crowley. What was that about? Were you out in D.C. this week?
I was out in D.C. this week. We have the National Association of Counties, which I'm a board member of. I'm also the chair of the Large Urban Counties Caucus. And so I had an opportunity to be out there and see some of my peers from all across the country. But it was also a great opportunity to say thank you to Mr. President. Because of the American Rescue Plan Act, we have been constructing over 100 single-family homes in the King Park neighborhood. And if it wasn't for President Biden's investment in the city of Milwaukee, in Milwaukee County, in Wisconsin, this wouldn't be possible. So I had a great opportunity to sit down with the president and say thank you.
That's great.
Oh, yeah.
He's a busy guy, too.
He's been very busy. He's been very busy.
You're about to be even busier because it's just about budget time, isn't it? Budget time never stops, right?
Budget time never stops. We're constantly working on the budget, but it's one of the reasons why I'm in D.C., right? It's about how do we bring back resources to leverage the work that we've already been doing, whether that's in D.C. at the federal level or even at the state level. And so many of the departments right now are in the process of really putting together those budgets, seeing what it's going to look like before we put them out there in the public towards the end of the summer.
And a very different budget process this year due to some wins at the state level that you and the mayor were instrumental in getting done. So remind our listeners who are drinking the fire hose of news like everybody else, why is this budget going to be different? Why is Milwaukee County in a little better position for this budget cycle than the last few?
Absolutely. So because of Wisconsin Act 12, the budget for Milwaukee County looks dramatically different than it has to look like in past years. Because of Wisconsin Act 12, we've had the ability to actually have our first ever surplus in over 20 years. And so this gave us an opportunity. One, instead of looking at what cuts will be least harmful for this community, we were able to actually make some investments. So we've had a historic property tax cut within this budget to the tune of about $20+ million. We've been able to invest in our Milwaukee County Park system, about $23 million in capital projects, adding some staff to focus on both maintenance and operations. We've been able to invest $16 million in our county transit system as well, not just for operations, but making sure we're focusing on the safety of our operators and our users. But this has just been a dramatically different environment for us. But we also know that, while we can toot our own horn and seeing the dollars that are coming in, it doesn't mean that we've solved all these problems. And so we have to constantly work with our state partners, our federal partners, to make sure that we're gaining the resources that we need. So everyone, no matter what zip code, no matter what municipality you live in, you're reaping the benefits of being a Milwaukee County resident.
We're talking with Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley on News Talk 620. Also saw some news this week, speaking of property taxes, the voters of the city of Milwaukee this April are going to be asked about raising revenue limits for Milwaukee Public Schools.
Yes.
You and Mayor Johnson have both announced that you will be voting yes. And supporting that. Provide some context. How are you viewing this issue? How are you thinking about the referendum?
Well, one, I'm an MPS alumni. And when you think about Milwaukee Public Schools, I would not be here if it wasn't for Milwaukee Public Schools. But not just me, my wife, my girls also attend Milwaukee Public Schools. And it's unfortunate that at the state level that we haven't been adequately funding schools all across the state of Wisconsin. And so the city, Milwaukee Public Schools have to go to referendum. This is about making sure that come next year, that not only my girls, but all kids who attend Milwaukee Public Schools have access to the resources they need, have enough teachers to provide them with the skill sets that they need to have in order to become productive citizens, to take care of folks like me and you as we get older. So this is extremely critical. And so this isn't about we just need more money. This is an investment in our children, and our children absolutely need this at this moment.
And this is not just a Milwaukee problem. For those who have been following the news closely, you're seeing there's about 100 school districts all across Wisconsin who are having to go to referendum this April.
I mean, we think, how many referendums have we seen within school districts within the past decade?
Right? In this century, I think more than 80% of Wisconsin school districts.
So it lets you know that we need the state support. We need to figure out ways for local communities to bring in these resources, because our children absolutely deserve it. Our children should not be on the lower end of the spectrum simply because the state hasn't found a way to fully fund our public schools around the state.
Right. And my assessment, this ain't a wish list. This ain't this ain't all new buildings or solar panels. This is like, no, you still want to have art class. You still want to have instruments for the kids to learn some music. This is the bare bones basic cost to continue is what the voters of Milwaukee are being asked for. That is Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. I'm Joe Zepecki. More with the County Executive after this.
Wisconsin's Morning News.
The EMS system here worked as designed.
It did not.
Listen to Vince Vetrano every weekday starting at 6 a.m.
The video simply does not support the claim that Mrs. Waldrop was obscured by a snowbank. Alderman Lamont Westmoreland, that's his district. This is his statement. I've met with MFD Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky. I am 100% confident that there will be standard operating procedure updates, changes that will strengthen protocols to reduce the chance of this type of incident reoccurring. Good. There should be changes.
Tune in on Sundays at 10 a.m. for the AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show. Join AccuNet's Brian and David Wickert for the most up-to-date information on mortgage trends, along with timely news on the real estate market. The housing market is in flux, but the national headlines don't often fit local market conditions. Find out what's really happening on the front lines of real estate and mortgage financing in Wisconsin and make better decisions by tuning in every Sunday at 10 a.m. The AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show with Brian and David Wickert on WTMJ.
Home is where the heart is. Family meals, laughter, and warm memories. As your local contractor that's been around for 40 years, J&J Contractors has been helping families create new memories for generations to come by reimagining your kitchen space for baking holiday cookies with the family or opening up your lower level for friend and neighbor entertainment. Whatever the project is, J&J Contractors does it with top-of-the-line craftsmanship. Just Google J&J Contractors to see their reviews for impeccable work and outstanding communication.
We've told you about Moses Hadara,
the diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
The magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Geniuses who create wonderful, spectacular,
crazy diamond shapes.
The one thing these crazy genius diamonds all have in common
is that they explode with light.
The Kessler Emerald Cut diamond sends out rippling waves of light, like water lapping onto a beach.
The Kessler Square Radiant Diamond glows like the sun on the horizon.
Sometimes sunrise.
Sometimes sunset.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Ask to see the rippling waves of light, like water on the beach.
Ask to see the glow that looks like sunrise and sunset.
Ask to see the Kessler Crazy Genius Diamonds.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Welcome back to News Talk 620. I'm Joe Zepecki. Another segment with Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. And we've got a question from the text line. WTMJ Talk and Text line is open, 855-616-1620. From the 262, a question for the county executive. Is Milwaukee County actively trying to recruit private partnerships to save the domes?
Great question. So we are currently working with the Friends of Mitchell Park Domes, our Parks Department, and we're in the process of actually identifying some solutions as it relates to saving these domes. The question is whether we're going to be able to save all three, 2 or 1, but I can honestly say that we are actively working to save the domes, and it's looking pretty hopeful at this moment.
That's great. We are the home of the domes, and you mentioned this in the first segment, but I want to spend some time really drilling down because we know one of the challenging issues of our times is housing, access to housing, affordable housing, housing inventory.
Yes.
Parts of the county have seen some recent wins, including in Whitefish Bay. What's the status of the push for more affordable housing options in Milwaukee County?
Well, so far we've been on a great trajectory, right? We've seen the largest push for affordable housing in Milwaukee County in over I don't know, decades, right? And it's particularly in suburban communities since probably the 40s. And so really excited to hear what is going on in Whitefish Bay. But we have great partnerships in South Milwaukee, in Brown Deer, in Wauwatosa, and we're seeing more affordable housing units popping up, year after year right now. Whether we're talking about for low income, whether we're talking about for seniors or people with disabilities, we have to make sure that we are making this investment. And again, I just have to say, a lot of this is because of President Biden, is his investment in Milwaukee County through the American Rescue Plan Act dollars. And I have to say thank you to Senator Tammy Baldwin as well, who's also brought close to about $5-6 million back to Milwaukee County to help us make these investments. But while we can toot our own horn and say this is great projects that we have in the hopper and we're seeing pop up, we know this is not the end all be all. We need more assistance, and not just here in Milwaukee County, right? We're talking about across the entire southeast Wisconsin region and across this state, and quite frankly, across the country. We need more affordable housing, and in order to get access to that, we need the partnerships. And so, for Milwaukee County, we're going to continue to work with our state and federal partners to figure out ways to leverage the dollars that are out there. But more importantly, we have to keep this front and center. You can't talk about transportation without talking about housing. You can't talk about workforce without talking about housing. Folks shouldn't just be going into communities and leaving out once their 8 hours are up. And when you think about folks who work in many of these municipalities, they may be our sanitation workers, they may be our public safety workers, our firefighters, assistants within municipal government, yet they can't actually afford to live in the community that they are working in. And so we really have to change that mindset of what affordable housing or workforce housing is and really focus on building as many units as possible. But I always tell folks you have to operate on two ends of the spectrum. We not only are talking about affordable housing, but you also have to have a decent amount of stock that is market rate at the same time, because there are individuals who can actually afford to buy a home, who can actually afford to do these things, but the housing stock isn't just available.
That's right.
And I think it was just an article not too long ago that talked about, there are empty nesters that probably own 42% of some of the largest homes in Milwaukee County. And so when you think about newer families, younger families, these homes just aren't available.
That's right. Everybody's parents, if they're able, should do what my parents did, which was after me and my brother and sister were out of the house, they sold the house in the suburbs and they moved into the city of Milwaukee. They came downtown. We've got about a minute and a half before the break. You mentioned it's all connected, and we can't possibly get to all of it. But you did mention transit.
Yes.
Part of it is transit. What's going on with transit? What should people know about the state of county transit at this time?
Well, right now we've been able to do great things with transit. I'm really excited as far as what the East-West BRT has been doing, Connect One has been doing within Milwaukee County, and it's been wildly successful that since we've actually opened up that particular route has become one of the top 10 most used routes within Milwaukee County. But one of the other reasons I was actually in Washington, D.C. is that we have the opportunity to add a second BRT to our fleet. And so we're looking at the 27th Street corridor, going as far north as about Glendale, Fox Point, and Bayside, to as far south as South Milwaukee, Oak Creek. Because along this route, we have about 50,000 jobs, 2,500 types of businesses. But we also have about 50% of the people within that community don't have access to their own vehicle themselves. And so if we want to connect people to the jobs that are within Milwaukee County, this is going to be a very critical route that we get going soon.
No question. That's Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. I'm Joe Zepecki. The talk and text line is open. We've got the county executive for one more segment before he's got to get off to his next engagement. Stick with us on WTMJ.
WTMJ Now with Steve Scafidi.
We are so absurd with our politics now that there's an opportunity as we speak to at least try to mediate or fix our issues at the border.
Get the latest news. Hear the opinions.
We don't buy into the nonsense that Paul Ryan is a rhino, which is the most overused term, misused term in the history of political terms.
All in Wisconsin.
Little fear is a good thing. Fear punishment for bad behavior.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on WTMJ.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
Planning for the future should include your pets. What will happen to them if something happens to you? From setting up pet trusts to securing a caretaker to the best place to keep your pet's information, the Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, has important resources you need. Download their free pet planning guide and register to attend a seminar led by planning experts on February 29th at 5:30 p.m., hosted by Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls. Plan for your pets. Learn more at hawspets.org.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you quality name brand workwear and footwear because we get you. From the farm to the job site to your own backyard, we have great deals on your favorite rugged styles for spring. Right now, earn $50 in Carhartt bucks when you spend $200 on Carhartt gear, including new spring colors of the whole family's favorite Carhartt styles. And shop our impressive selection of men's and women's Carhartt boots. We get you what you need because we get you at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Welcome back to WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki, in for a player to be named later. And wouldn't you know it, they have been named. Starting next week, Kristen Bry will be in this seat from 1 to 3 o'clock, 5 days a week. I'm just keeping the seat warm, and Tracy Johnson will be back tomorrow. But we do have one more segment today with Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. County Executive, it is, of course, Black History Month.
Yes.
And wanted to give you an opportunity to just sort of reflect on the month and what it means and what you're thinking about as you think about Black history and all that it means.
Well, one, when I think about Black history, I recognize the shoulders that I stand on and those who have paved the way for myself to be the first African-American elected to be the county executive. And one particular name that comes to mind is Val Phillips. And if folks don't know about Val Phillips, she was a phenomenal woman, first Black woman to be elected to the Common Council, first person of color to be elected statewide here in the state of Wisconsin. And there are definitely interesting stories on how she actually pulled that off. But also the first, African-American woman judge also, within the state. And so, I do want to put a plug out there is that we're going to be honoring her legacy and her. It would have been her 100th birthday coming up this upcoming Sunday. And so tomorrow at 2 p.m., February 16th, we're going to be honoring the legacy of Val Phillips at the courthouse. So anybody who's interested in celebrating Black History Month and Val Phillips' legacy, please join us at 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Sounds like a wonderful event. She was such a trailblazer, and anybody who ever had the chance to spend even a few minutes with her, man, she was a pistol. She was such a spitfire.
You talk about spitfire. I read, as a young organizer, getting to know Val at a very early age. It was. I'm blessed to have had to share rooms and conversations with her. And, I'm glad that the state of Wisconsin is also recognizing her with a statue outside of the state capitol.
Long overdue.
Long overdue, which her legacy should be celebrated. And so, it's important that we recognize not just Black history because it's American history, but also our local history that is happening right here in our own backyard. And Vale Phillips is, at the top of the list particularly when you think about the Black community.
No question. Any Black authors, any Black art you want to recommend to the listeners, to myself? The Bob Marley movie is on my list to get to. Maybe I was hoping to do a Valentine's Day date with my Valentine, but she came down with a cold, so we couldn't do that, but we will. What do you recommend?
Man. Recommend. You put me on the spot, man, because I haven't got a chance to look at any movies,
no time to read a book,
books.
All right.
It's just been really crazy, But one thing I would really highlight is that we have a lot of great people in the community. So if you want to learn about Black history, right, going to the corner of 27th Street, going to the Wisconsin Black Historical Society, and learning about that particular museum, and not just Black people all across the country, but Black folks right here in our own community. And even when you think about the Black Holocaust Museum, right there on the corner of Vale Phillips and North Avenue, that talks about the entire history of African Americans in this country. And so, those are two entities that I don't think we talk about enough locally in our community or promote enough. And I would encourage anyone, who wants to figure out ways to support Black History Month, learn a little bit more about Black history, to visit those two particular entities.
There you have it. That's Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, himself a part of Black history locally and across the state of Wisconsin. First African-American ever elected to that countywide post.
Yes.
Thank you for taking some time and visiting with us today. After the break, more on WTMJ.
Thanks, Joe.
AccuRite Tax and Financial Services has Toshiba copiers and network printers from James Imaging Systems. President CEO Jason Rose.
We have 17 different tax preparers on staff, and we have 4 printers running pretty much nonstop. And during tax season, it's absolutely crazy.
And Jason, those printers from James Imaging Systems have to work just as hard and reliably as your people do.
Oh yeah, yes. Something comes up that's an issue, we have somebody that we can call that can help us resolve the issue very quickly and efficiently.
Reliable printing, reliable service. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. That helps tremendously keep us being productive, keeps those tax returns going.
Jason, bottom line for your practice?
Happy clients, happy workers, happy me.
Don't worry, be happy with document imaging technology and extraordinary local support from James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Heiser Automotive will help find your perfect vehicle match or give your current vehicle the attention it needs. After all, love is in the details. You'll get spoiled with our sales and service offers and receive our Safe and Sound program with each sale. This includes the exchange program. Don't love it? Exchange it. Convenient service with our new mobile service van. This means we'll come to you. Get lifetime roadside assistance and more. Your vehicle date awaits. At Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. The hotel is ideally located in the heart of the theater district in downtown Milwaukee. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site galleries, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. Book special hotel packages with room rates starting as low as $129 a night. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
Welcome back to News Radio WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki. Many, many thanks to Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley for joining us in studio for the last half hour. Got a few texts we want to react to from while the county executive was sitting in, and then a fun one that I don't think I shared with Aaron just yet, but stay tuned. Come on back for that. From the 414, a question about where the dollars are coming from to build homes in the MLK district. As the county executive mentioned, the American Rescue Plan was the first sort of big-ticket stimulus package that was enacted after Joe Biden became president. Much like when, all the way back in January of 2009, one of the first things that President Biden had to do, similar to what President Obama had to do, was sort of a big stimulus package. And people have questions. Are we just putting this on the credit card? Is this just, debt for debt's sake? Who's paying for it? We got to look at the whole picture, folks. And we got to look at what the U.S. policy response was to a unprecedented, at least for the last 100 years, pandemic. That was a real shock to the U.S. economy. And some of those results are in on the American Rescue Plan, on these big ticket stimulus packages. Right now, Japan is in a recession. The United Kingdom is in a recession. Germany's economy only grew at 0.4%, less than 0.5% last year. China's stock market has fallen steadily since last April. Their real estate bubble popped. On the other hand, here in the U.S., gross domestic product growth in 2023 was 2.5%. And in the fourth quarter, it was even higher than that. It was at 3.3%. And so you can be mad about the government spending money. You can also understand that the policy choice that was made to stimulate the U.S. economy managed to both help the U.S. economy recover quicker, made sure more people were working more quickly, and has staved off some of the economic consequences that other globally developed national economies are seeing. What was the cost of all that? Inflation was pretty high. It's coming down now. But inflation, it was also worse in other economies that make up part of the G8 and the G20. The actions of the Fed, the actions of President Biden and Congress made the economic shocks less severe here than they have been in other parts of the world. Also from the 414, a question about referendums. The Milwaukee County executive announced that he is voting yes for MPS. He and Mayor Johnson this week, it was announced, will both be supporting the MPS referendum. That's a ballot question this April. I don't want to speak for the mayor, but I know the county executive and I think the mayor both have children in MPS. And a question about the referendums from the 414, why all of a sudden are schools in need of this money? What happened to the extra COVID money? Taxpayers in Milwaukee have been asked for a lot of extra money in the past 6 months. The context for this question is something I added. This is not unique to MPS or to Milwaukee. When you look across the state of Wisconsin, around 100 schools, 100 districts are asking the voters to raise their revenue limits this April. Not just Milwaukee, MPS. South Milwaukee has one. Burlington has one. You throw a stick in southeastern Wisconsin, you're going to hit a school district that is going to taxpayers and asking for modifications to the revenue limit. And the reason for that is a 2-year freeze in state spending on K-12 education. At the time, so this was not the current budget, it was the last budget, because of the COVID dollars, because of some federal assistance to help navigate the pandemic, the state choice was to freeze funding, and now it's still frozen and it hasn't caught up to what inflation has done. Yeah, you're mad because you're paying a little bit more for eggs or for a hamburger or for, goods for your home. Inflation doesn't just impact individual consumers. It also impacts school districts. And so what you have now in districts of all shapes and sizes in all parts of the state of Wisconsin is basically a funding line where to keep pace with inflation, you're going one way, and the actual support from the state is much, much lower because of that 2-year freeze. And so, the way I put it, this does not look to me, from what I've seen from MPS, this is not a wish list. Listen, there are folks who would say, we want every school and every community to be a palace and new construction and the latest and greatest technologies and video boards, and our kids should have it all. And I think we all want that, but we also understand it comes with a cost. This referendum, these referenda, plural, around the state of Wisconsin this year, are not pie-in-the-sky wish lists. They are costs to continue without drastic cuts, not just to the number of teachers, which means bigger class sizes, not just to the support staff, but also to supplies and programs, things like music and art and physical education, the bare basic stuff that we have to be doing for kids to prepare them for the 21st century. So that is the context around why so many school districts, not just MPS, but suburban, rural, exurban, districts of all sizes are having to go to referendum. A couple more from the talk and text line if you'd like to weigh in. It's 855-616-1620. We have somebody from the 262 noting they were very proud to have met Vel Phillips back in the day. She was a great and wonderful lady. Yes, indeed. From the 262, reacting to the referenda and how we fund schools in this state, I wouldn't mind paying for these referendums if it was a working system. What system? The school funding system ain't it. You know, the education system writ large facing enormous challenges, more acutely than maybe ever before, given that we did just go through a global pandemic. I don't think I need to remind everybody how hard that was. People made choices. We got through it. There is learning loss, full stop. Kids today are not where they should be because for 2 years, or somewhere around 2 years, their worlds got turned upside down like everybody else's. And so where I get frustrated is people saying, we can't give schools what they need, and these schools are terrible and they're not giving kids what they need, and these kids who come out of the school system can't work and don't know how to do anything. Well, if all three of those things are true, what's the solve, man? You want a better outcome, you got to invest in our kids. You got to invest in school districts, in schools, in educators. You know, we've got workforce challenges in this state. I don't think it's a crisis. I've said this before. I think it's a lack of good paying quality jobs that are available. It's not about people not wanting to work. And among the things you have to consider in a job market that's highly competitive, if you are pulling people who are getting paid peanuts to teach our kids because they go, I can go make more money and get less nonsense working at a factory because American manufacturing is turning around and we're going to be doing a bunch of renewable energy development. So I'm going to go, become a union laborer or work in the building trades. Well, then who's going to teach the kids? So these challenges are all connected, and it takes serious people with serious solutions to figure out both how to solve them and how to communicate them. And I think one of the reasons I get so frustrated with how stupid, with a capital S, our politics is that for every time we're distracted by a food fight in Washington, D.C., about whether or not to impeach the DHS secretary, and we failed the first time, but we're going to come back and do it again, it's like a sporting game. Who's up, who's down, who's ahead, who's winning, how much time's left in the game, and we're missing conversations that are real about how are we going to improve education, not just locally, but statewide and across this country. What are the policy choices we can make to improve? And so we need serious people. We need serious conversations and serious solutions. We will always try to bring you those on News Radio 620 WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki. Come on back after the break.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Ryan Stefanchek.
Board certified in sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation, Dr. Stefanchek specializes in non-operative treatment of the spine, chronic pain, all joints, all musculoskeletal problems, and more, emphasizing holistic care first, with a focus on diet, sleep, stress management, and social connections for a patient's well-being. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
The largest industrial trade show in Wisconsin is the PFMA Plant Engineering and Maintenance Expo. Industrial professionals in charge of facility management and maintenance, purchasing, or manufacturing will save time learning about important advances all under one roof.
Skip the show day lines and go to pfmainc.com for fast and free pre-registration. The PFMA Expo. Free with free parking. February 21st and 22nd at a new location, Washington County Fair Park in West Bend.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlawns.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Rich Lawns.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, clicked on the blue button. One of our senior loan consultants, Brad, sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and then upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. They made a couple offers without success, and then Brad told them about Accunet's new property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval included that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with a local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win and save money too. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Welcome back to News Radio WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki. We're going to have a little fun this segment. Aaron did me a rude and told me what year he was born in after I told him what year I graduated high school. That was the most offensive thing he's ever said to me. And clearly, some very tuned-in listeners are starting to wonder now, what is the carbon dating on Joe Zepecki? And so I'm just going to read this text verbatim from the 414. Careful, folks. You send in a text, it just might get read. Joe is probably about 46 or 47, but he could pass for being in his 30s. Thank you, listener. I don't see any telltale patterns of incorrect just for men usage on his scalp or beard, but Joe may have just figured out how to use it inconspicuously because he's a smart guy. So, first of all, thank you for remarking on how young I look. No thank you for overshooting my age by a good couple of years. And let me assure the listeners and those watching along on the live stream, this is all natural, baby. This hair color, this beard, that's every single part of it is completely natural. I want to thank the technicians who installed the cameras, who designed the cameras, because clearly they do not show the gray hair that is encroaching upon the beard. It seems like every time I look in the mirror, there's more of it. But if I still present okay on a web stream, hey, that's good enough for me. If you want to take another guess at what my actual age is, I will tell dear listeners, I will share what year I was born. If somebody can guess it, you got to hit the talk and text line, 855-616-1620. If somebody wants to maybe offer an apology for why they thought I was 47 years old, like clearly it's not higher than that. So thank you for suggesting I look younger than I am. I'm curious how you landed at 46 or 47 because, wow, that's I don't think I've never heard it that way before. That's about as bad as the time I was at a fundraiser my father was hosting and approached the bar to buy a drink, and the barkeep saw my name tag and said, "Oh, you must be Dave Zepecki's brother." I said, "Excuse me, that is my father." So, not the first time I've been accused of looking a little older than I am. But let's hear it, listeners. What do you got? What are some guesses? Let's see if we got anybody weighing in here. How old is fill in Joe Zepecki? Whew. From the 414. Oh, I was going to say you were born in 1970? My God, people. How am I like the crankiest old man on the radio you've ever heard? I think Jeff Wagner was born closer to 1970 than I was. What are we doing here, folks? We've got somebody else from the 414 guessing that your fill-in host today is 43 years old. We're getting closer. We're in the right direction, but we're still not quite. Here's another one. I'm guessing 43, nearly 44, and we're still too high. From the 414, 38, that's still too low. A very, very sweet soul from the 920 is saying I was probably born in 1989. God love you, but nope. Nope. That would make me a little too young. Thanks for playing along on the home game. I'm trying to figure out, Aaron, maybe help me out here, if there's some like cultural clues I could give that might help folks narrow in on like what year I was born or what year I graduated high school. But what would you know? You're too young. You don't have any points of reference from my childhood, do you?
I don't know. How tuned into the Clinton thing were you?
And now, of course, I can't hear him. We've got about 30 seconds left, folks. We're running out of time. Can anybody get the age of your fill-in host, Joe Zepecki, on AM 620, News Talk WTMJ, 1993? People are getting nicer. Like, I wonder if the tone of my voice is just being like, this guy needs a win. He's too frustrated and grumpy today. Do we have a caller with a guess? Put him through. Let's hear it. Hey, you're on. What's your guess?
Hello? Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you. That's operator error. Now I got you. Caller, thanks for calling. How old do you think I am?
42.
You're so close. I will be 42 next month. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Tom. I'm calling from Hartford. I thought I heard you when you were on the radio one time with Steve that you mentioned that you were 42. Maybe you were going on 42.
Going on 42.
I really like you. I like what you do. I'm the opposite of what you are, but I don't care.
Hey,
I like what you're doing, and keep up the great work.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that, and I'm with Senator Brad Pfaff. There's way more that unites us than divides us, and one of those things is we all get a little sensitive about our age. That was fun. Thanks for playing along. Your fill-in host was born in 1982, and I will turn 42 years young next month, and I will still not be dyeing my hair or beard. More after this.
This is Libby Collins. Join me Sunday morning at 11 a.m. when we talk with someone who says he really wanted to be the Asian George Clooney, but ended up in Milwaukee as the head of NPR. David Lee joins us.
I went to a performing arts high school where I studied drama and theater. I liked having the freedom to be sort of a weirdo and play and fail and have it be okay.
WTMJ Conversations, Sunday mornings at 11 on WTMJ.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Imagine, if you will, a wonderland of vehicles. An entire convention center filled with the things you love to drive. It's the Milwaukee Auto Show at the Baird Center downtown, February 24th through March 3rd. Immerse yourself in the latest new cars and trucks. The Milwaukee Auto Show. For tickets, go to autoshowmilwaukee.com.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Welcome back. Now that we have dispensed with that nonsense, and you all know how old I am, 42 years young. Next month. Sorry, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I forget how old I am. This is Joe Zepecki filling in. Tracy Johnson will be back tomorrow. And starting on Monday, Kristen Bry will be in your ears from 1 to 3 every weekday. We're going to spend a few minutes visiting with Kristen later on in the show. I hope you'll stick around for that. If you recognize this voice, but you're not sure from where or why, it's probably because you listen to the Political Power Hour on Fridays with myself from the left and Bill McCoshen from the right. We visit with Steve Scafidi and talk about everything that's going on politically. And one of the challenges with hosting for a couple hours on a Thursday afternoon is I don't want to spoil the show tomorrow because it's been said that the Political Power Hour is the best hour of talk radio in Wisconsin. Those aren't my words. That's what people say out there. Including at a basketball game. I do some coaching, and I was talking to a parent for one of the other teams a couple weeks ago out in Muskego, and just asking about, he was, looked like he clearly had some knee surgery, and I was just asking how long he was going to be laid up for. Just the idle chit-chat that you do. Had no idea the guy knew who I was. And then before I walked away to go coach, he goes, by the way, best hour of political talk radio there is. So from his mouth, not mine. And I hope you will join us tomorrow morning. But I can't go 3 hours without talking about raw politics. And so I want to give folks a couple of updates, some news, some information about what is happening in 2 key races. The first, since I was here last week Thursday, U.S. Congressman Mike Gallagher, representing Northeast Wisconsin in the 8th Congressional District, surprised a lot of people by deciding he would not be seeking re-election. Congressman Gallagher is quite young. I think he's younger than I am. And now that you know how old I am, you know how young that makes him. Really viewed as a rising star within the Republican Party, and is just saying, you know what? I'm done. And so that opens up a surprise vacancy. I think everybody had assumed and just sort of written in, hey, Mike Gallagher's going to run for re-election. He'll be reelected. We do have some news today about that open congressional seat. State Representative John Mako, a Republican from Northeast Wisconsin, has declared that he will not be running to replace Mike Gallagher. Brown County Administrative Director Chad Weininger tells Lawrence Andrea of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that he is on a path of considering a run. Roger Roth is running. State Senator Andre Jacques and Alex Bruzowitz are considering. So a number of names at the moment, almost entirely on the Republican side. I do believe there will be a Democratic candidate. There might even be a Democratic primary. The 8th Congressional District, fairly conservative, and it was represented not all that long ago by former Congressman Dr. Steve Kagan, who was a Democrat. I want to say he was first elected in 2006 and served until 2010. Maybe 14. So several terms. For a long time, it was really considered the swingiest seat in Wisconsin. So for you political watchers, the 8th Congressional District, an open seat, that always means a little bit more interest, a little bit more investment, a little bit more of an opportunity for voters in that part of the state to see the candidates and see the choice between the 2 political parties. The other big news today from the political world, finally, it looks like Republicans have a candidate to run against Tammy Baldwin. They also may have gotten 2 for 1 based on the news from the last 24 hours. Tammy Baldwin, of course, up for re-election. She is a Democrat. She was reelected by 11 or 12 points last in 2018. She is up, and it has taken forever for Republicans to step up and say, yeah, I'm going to take her on. Yesterday, Franklin businessman Scott Mayer made some news by telling journalists he had hired staff and was ready to go and was looking forward to get in the race. And then in the span of about 24 hours went, actually, just kidding, I haven't hired anybody. I can't hire people yet because I'm not a candidate, but I'm ready to go if and when I make the decision. And if this other guy that's being talked about runs, he shouldn't just get a clean path at it because he's from California. Who is that other guy? That other guy is the guy who made news today. Madison, I'm using air quotes, I'm air quoting heavily, Madison businessman Eric Hovde has confirmed to members of the media that next week he will be announcing his long-anticipated run for the United States Senate against Tammy Baldwin. Mr. Hovde is a real estate developer in the Madison area. He owns a large bank in California. That is where he has been living, it would seem, for most of the last few years. He is widely reported owns a $7 million home in Laguna Beach. He has been named the Orange County Man of the Year several times in the last decade. Wonderful for him. I'm not sure how you translate that award into votes in Wisconsin, but he gets to try because he wants to run, and he has finally confirmed that he is, in fact, going to run. So next week, Eric Hovde will officially be in the race. We now, of course, have to figure out what Scott Mayer, the businessman from Franklin, is going to do, but it certainly sounds to me like he's going to be in too. So more of that, I'm sure, tomorrow on the Political Power Hour. Stay with us after the break. We'll be talking with Covering Wisconsin. Come on back.
God thinks you're worth dying for. Jesus says the world is worth saving. And in the meantime, there are things you can do to help take care of the place. And if you're not sure how, there's probably a YouTube video for it.
Do-it-yourself projects are great, but there are some things we can't and shouldn't do ourselves. Dr. Michael Ziegler talks about spiritual growth during the season of Lent, this week on the Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Lillard thought about the three. Now good bounce pass inside to Giannis, who grabs it all with a two-hand.
The Bucks are in Memphis against the Grizzlies with our coverage starting tonight at 7 on your home for the Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 2 o'clock. We have partly sunny skies, 37 degrees, increasing cloudiness tonight, chilly with a low of 23. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A hearing in Fulton County Court, Georgia, focused on the romantic relationship between DA Fonnie Willis and her current boyfriend, an attorney whom she hired to investigate former President Donald Trump. One of Trump's co-defendants is trying to get Willis tossed from the racketeering case, alleging the DA has financially benefited from the relationship.
Attorney Nathan Wade insists that while he doesn't have receipts to prove it, he and DA Fonnie Willis roughly split their travel expenses.
She would pay for dinner. It would balance out.
Wade says Willis has also reimbursed him in cash. He testified their romantic relationship began in 2022 after Willis hired him. But Willis's one-time friend and former employee Robin Yurty said she saw evidence of the relationship before that.
Hugging, kissing.
Yurty said it started in late 2019. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News.
In another courtroom, in another case, the former president found out he's going to trial March 25th in New York for the case related to hush money payments he allegedly paid to an adult film actress. Today, a judge denied Trump's legal team's motion to dismiss. Two of the suspects in yesterday's Kansas City Chiefs victory parade shooting are juveniles. Police Chief Stacey Graves told reporters today.
This appeared to be a dispute between several people that ended in gunfire.
Youngest victim, 8, and half of the 22 wounded are under the age of 16. One woman, a mother of 2, was killed. The chief says several firearms were recovered. Biden administration is meeting with the leaders of Congress and the intelligence committees in the House and Senate to brief them on new intelligence concerning Russian advances in space-based nuclear weapons. CBS News contributor Sam Vinograd says it's a threat that should be taken seriously.
Russia is seeking to gain dominance in really every domain: air, land, sea, cyber, and space. And by virtue of that, Russia has been investing a lot in technological development of new kinds of weapons.
Moscow denied the malicious and unfounded reports, describing them as a White House ploy to try to pass a multi-billion-dollar Ukrainian war aid package that stalled in Congress. Milwaukee Housing Authority residents renewing calls for the resignation of Hackham President Willie Hines Jr. after months of complaints over uninhabitable apartments. During a meeting at City Hall yesterday, resident Betty Newton said the conditions in her building are appalling.
We live with mold. We live with pests. Yes. We live with conditions that you wouldn't want your family in, but you expect us to live that way.
Our partners at TNJ4 News have requested multiple on-screen interviews with President Hines, but he has declined. A new energy project could become the city of Milwaukee's largest solar power installation.
A proposal is pending with the Milwaukee Common Council that would convert a 15-acre parcel on a landfill near Milwaukee Mitchell International to a solar field. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports We Energies would pay $15,000 a year for the lease. Under a separate agreement connected to the project, the city would receive renewable energy credits that would count towards Milwaukee's goal of getting a quarter of electricity it uses for city buildings, streetlights, and the HOP from renewable resources by 2025. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
The Wisconsin corporate headquarters for American Girl will be closing this year. WISC-TV in Madison reports around 30 employees will be affected by the closure as the facility spreads its closure out between February and September of this year. Some corporate functions of the company will continue to be operated remotely. American Girl's been owned by Mattel since 1998. The feature-length documentary on Buck star Giannis Antetokounmpo premieres next week.
Giannis Antetokounmpo from Athens, Greece.
Giannis, The Marvelous Journey, takes fans back to Athens for Giannis' childhood and all the way through his championship season.
I mean, we sat Giannis down for 6 hours total.
Producer and director of the film, Kristen Lapis, on Wisconsin's Morning News.
You have subjects like the Antetokounmpo family that have really never told their story through their own words. They had a lot to say.
The film premieres on Prime Video and select screenings in theaters Monday.
I'm just a hard worker that's trying to survive.
Vince Vetrano, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is now up 321 points. S&P is up 28. The Nasdaq is up 34. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com. Click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:04.
WTMJ's Vince Vetrano here for Johnson & Sons Paving. Asphalt or concrete, Johnson & Sons is designing commercial projects for 2024 right now. Booking the work in winter gives you full confidence in the design, and you get all the permits pulled so you're set to go first in line this spring. Might not need a full rebuild. Talk with a project manager about a maintenance plan to extend the life of your parking lot or drive, and get an honest assessment on how much longer it's going to last. Plenty of Johnsons over there, no subcontractors. JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
St. Vincent de Paul, Milwaukee has expanded into our new 76th and Bradley Road location, where thrifters will find hundreds of bargains on everything, from clothing to furniture, electronics, home goods, and more. Our inventory is always changing, and new deals pop up every day. We're accepting donations, too, at our convenient drive-through donation area. Help us help others. St. Vincent de Paul at 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee is now open.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
One person is dead and 21 others were wounded by gunfire in a mass shooting at the end of the Chiefs Super Bowl parade on Wednesday afternoon. 3 people have been detained and are currently under investigation. Of the people wounded by gunfire, 8 were in immediately life-threatening condition and 6 had minor injuries. Over to the NBA, where the Milwaukee Bucks will have one more chance to get back into the win column before the All-Star festivities take place this weekend. Bucks Grizzlies tonight from Memphis, tip-off set for 7:30. And last, over to college hoops, for the UWM Panthers got a bounce-back win on Wednesday night, defeating Cleveland State on the road in a close one, winning 71-68.
Pullian deep three, bucket, just the way they drew it up.
Next up for the 13-13 Panthers is a home game against Northern Kentucky on Saturday night.
I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. The construction zone, I-43 southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown. There are some ramps closed in that area. Look for some slowing there. Normally about an 11-minute drive. It's going to take you closer to 15 minutes this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
A WTMJ 5-day forecast. Increasing cloudiness tonight with an overnight low 23, cloudy and 32 tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy Saturday, high 31. Sunshine on Sunday, 39 for the high, and partly cloudy on Monday, but warmer with a high of 43. Madison 34, Green Bay 33, Milwaukee 37 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 2:08.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now here's Joe Zepecki.
Welcome back. Third hour of the afternoon with Joe Zepecki, your fill-in host. I want to thank you for sticking with us. And I want to welcome to the show from covering Wisconsin, Caroline Gomez-Tom. Caroline, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Joe.
You bet. So first of all, I'm familiar with covering Wisconsin, but I know many of our listeners are not. What is covering Wisconsin, and what do you guys do?
Thank you. Yeah, we're a unique program. We're actually based out of UW-Madison Division of Extension, and we've been around now for 20 years, where we have been the state's navigator entity, which means we get funding from the federal government to help people sign up for health insurance and help understand and utilize their health insurance so that it's not as confusing and they know how to save some money to get the care that they need.
And anybody who has ever signed up for a health insurance plan or paid a medical bill knows that that can be a very daunting process. So as navigators, I know you guys kind of just got through the busiest time of the year for you. What's known as the open enrollment period, where my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that anybody for any reason can change plans if they're already in the Affordable Care Act marketplace, or if they didn't have health care last year, they can sign up for coverage with no penalty. It's the open enrollment part of the season. Am I describing open enrollment accurately, and how busy were you guys?
Yeah, you're pretty accurate. It's open enrollment for healthcare.gov, and it's from November 1st to January 15th. And this year it was actually January 16th because of the MLK holiday. And that window of time is when we see the majority of the people that we need to help sign up for either renewing their private insurance through healthcare.gov with the financial assistance that they qualify for, or new people who maybe were uninsured or are transitioning from other forms of coverage. And we have that window to get them signed up if they didn't have a special enrollment period. But overall, we also help people all across the year.
And as I understand it, this open enrollment period was a historic one. I saw the national numbers, which are that more Americans than ever before are participating in these marketplace healthcare.gov plans, or some states, not Wisconsin, but other states have state-based marketplaces or exchanges. Are those historic numbers nationally also what we are seeing in the state of Wisconsin? Were you guys busier than usual?
Absolutely. And it's been a unique year in general, which I think we'll talk a little more about that. But overall, it was a 34% increase nationally from the year before, and then a 20% increase here in Wisconsin from the year before. And our essentially best year of enrollment since the start of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act.
I mean, we're talking 20% higher. I mean, that's thousands more people, right?
Yeah, so in Wisconsin, that's 266,327 people who were able to get health insurance coverage, whether that's through healthcare.gov or the state's Medicaid program. And then, of course, we talk to a lot more just to understand what options they might have at their employer or other forms of coverage like Medicare and Medicaid, or Medicare specifically, getting them connected to either their Aging Disability Resource Center or other partnering agents and brokers that can help with the Medicare piece.
That's great. And I want to, after the break, I want to bring you back and chop up exactly what those other times of year or sort of eligible moments or moments when people might reach out to you are. But before the break, which is in about 30 seconds, is there something you can point to, like why the 20% increase? Why so much more interest in these plans this year? Was this a policy? Was it better marketing? What do you think's going on here?
Well, it was kind of a culmination of things. So one of the things was the transition of the pandemic and people now needing to renew their Medicaid, which is the state's program for lower income individuals. People having to renew for the first time since the start of the pandemic, so almost 3-4 years. So there was a lot of effort both from the federal government, the state government, and then our collective partnerships in the community to get the word out about these renewals. And then more people just were hearing about health insurance. And through that joint promotion, more people were coming to us, navigators and enrollment assisters, helping them sign up. So I think overall we're seeing really what it takes to get people to go and act across the country. It's a lot more notoriety and awareness and really building that trust too, so that they can really know where to go.
Yeah. That's Caroline Gomez-Tom. She's with Covering Wisconsin, is going to stick with us after the break and talk more about how you, the listeners, might find yourself in need of some help from Covering Wisconsin and what they can do for you. More with Caroline after the break. Come on back.
A new lineup is coming to WTMJ, debuting February 19th, starting at 5 a.m. The Midwest Farm Report with Pan Yonke. From 6 to 9 is Wisconsin's Morning News with Vince Petrano and Eric Bilstad. Starting at 9, the Political Power Hour with Steve Scafidi. At 10, catch The Upswing with Jeff Sherman. From 11 to 1, Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Metzik and Jessica Ty. At 3, Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure and Julia Fellow. At 6, What's on Tap with Sandy Max. And at 7, WTMJ at Night with Brian Noonan. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source for news, traffic, weather, and sports. On air, online, and on demand. Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Make a stop at the Harley-Davidson Museum before heading out to the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show. They'll have food and drink specials from the motor bar and restaurant. Explore their newest exhibit, Mama Tried, bringing it together, and take a free shuttle to the rave for Saturday's show. The HD Factory Outlet Sale in Rumble includes fantastic deals on end of season and discontinued Harley-Davidson motor clothes and merchandise. Don't miss the fun pre-show gatherings. Thursday, February 22nd through Sunday, February 25th at the Harley-Davidson Museum.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Welcome back to News Talk 620 WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki filling in. That's Beyonce, the new drop on Super Bowl Sunday. And it was a special request from our guest covering Wisconsin's Caroline Gomez-Tom. Great pick, Caroline. How excited were you on Sunday when you learned there was new music coming?
Oh, I mean, I love Beyonce.
Who
and
doesn't?
To hear yeah, and she, to do what I'm thinking, it's a whole country album, and then looking forward to Renaissance Part 3 after that, which probably is going to be a rock and roll album. So that's my guess.
I love it. I love it all. And I'm still waiting on a country or sort of like Memphis Blues album from Justin Timberlake, because after watching him in Stapleton at the what was that? No, it wasn't the VMAs. The Grammys? Yeah, Grammys a few years ago. We're way off track, though. I'm Joe Zepecki. I'm sitting in this afternoon. Tracy Johnson will be back tomorrow, and we are delighted to have Caroline Gomez-Tom from Covering Wisconsin with us. Before the break, Caroline was explaining the historic open enrollment period that just closed. So that was between November and the middle of January. No questions asked. You want to change your plan, you can do it. You haven't had a plan, you want a plan, you can get a plan. If you've been on Medicaid, you need to renew. Come on in, and Covering Wisconsin will help you. And people might be saying, well, Joe, why would you have Caroline on today? It's the middle of February. We just passed Valentine's Day, for crying out loud. And part of what I want people to understand is just because open enrollment is over doesn't mean that Covering Wisconsin closes its doors. So explain to folks what types of scenarios they might find themselves in the months ahead throughout the year where the right person to call is a navigator from Covering Wisconsin.
Absolutely. And yeah, you're right. We are open all year long. Our work does not end with open enrollment, and it only just ramps up during that time because that's when we're promoting it the hardest. But with kind of this change back to the old rules around Medicaid and renewals, we have been busy all year long because all of these folks that are renewing for the first time, and really on the administrative side, people processing renewals for the first time, it's been a large lift from the community to make sure that people know where to go. And if you lost your Medicaid program or you're expected to renew, you can reach out to us at Covering Wisconsin. And then if you already lost Medicaid and you didn't know you needed to renew, people can qualify for a special enrollment period, which a special enrollment period is when someone has a change in their situation, which allows them to have a window of enrollment similar to an open enrollment period. So they're able to go to healthcare.gov to sign up.
What would an example of that be, Carol? What's a change in circumstance? What do we mean there?
Yeah, so let's say they lose their job and they had health insurance through their job and now they don't. They would have 60 days before and after they lost their employer-sponsored health insurance to sign up on healthcare.gov. In terms of Medicaid, they actually have 90 days, but because of this change of policy going back to what it was before the pandemic, we have through July 2024 for people to just say, hey, I lost my Medicaid sometime this year. You can have a special enrollment period. If someone has a change in immigration status where maybe they weren't eligible for health insurance at all because they were undocumented, but now they have some form of legal status, they qualify for a special enrollment period to sign up for health insurance. if they move outside of a county and they had one plan, but now their plan doesn't cover their doctors in their new location, they qualify for a special enrollment period. And if someone is out of incarceration, they also qualify for a special enrollment period at that time.
Got it. Do you guys offer services to small businesses? So, for example, there are people who lose their job due to layoffs. There are people who, say, you know what, this, let's say a public service job with healthcare coverage included has been great, but I want to strike out on my own. I want to hang a shingle and do some consulting, but now I got to figure out healthcare. Is that the type of conversation that someone with Covering Wisconsin can help with to let folks know what their options are?
Absolutely. And we actually recommend that people call us with any of their insurance questions, because a lot of times people come to us after they've lost coverage. But in that circumstance, that would actually make more sense to talk to us before, so you can really understand what your options are, so that you can make that final decision of, I want to start this new business and I'm going to leave my current job to be able to do that. Or I want to retire early because I've worked, 35 years of my life, and now I want to hang out with my grandkids, things like that. But I'm not.
But they're a little
yet,
before
so.
Medicare. Yeah,
exactly.
Listen, we earlier in the show we established how old I am, and the short version is old enough to remember debates over the Affordable Care Act before it was passed. And one of the very real conversations at that time was how much healthcare can kind of lock people into jobs, and that can actually stifle innovation and entrepreneurship and make it less likely that somebody starts that new business, when we know new businesses create most of the jobs in this country. So one of the ways that I would argue that the Affordable Care Act has unlocked the American economy and made things a little fairer and a little more vibrant is by making it easier to do things like get that healthcare coverage through the marketplace. Much of that is thanks to the work of Caroline Gomez-Tom and the team at Covering Wisconsin. Thank you for joining us today, Caroline. Thank you for all the work that you guys do. And one more time, give the listeners the website to go to if they ever have questions about their healthcare status.
Absolutely. And that is either wiscovered.com, which is a state approach, or coveringwi.org. And then you can easily call 211 to find a local navigator near you.
Thanks so much, Caroline. Have a good rest of the week. More after
Thanks,
this.
Joe. Take care.
Hey, John Mercure here. Join me Saturday at noon for Experience Wisconsin. I love the show because we explore the entire state, from the Mississippi to Lake Michigan, the best spots in Wisconsin. This week we are joined by Lauren Sackett from the Northwoods. We check into Rhinelander.
Pastas, steaks, all that kind of stuff, but chef is so good.
And Teresa Nemitz with the Milwaukee Food and City Tours. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturday at noon right here on 620 WTMJ.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Hey, if you were unable to celebrate Valentine's Day on Wednesday, celebrate it this weekend at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club with a free dinner. WTMJ's John Mercure here. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is absolutely free. Order anything on the menu, like a brandied New York strip steak, the pan-fried walleye, grilled salmon, or your favorite pasta dish. Even the steak and lobster, your second dinner is free. Desserts and ice cream drinks are buy one, get one free. Sip on a hand-muddled old-fashioned, a Manhattan, 20 bourbons to choose from, a wine list with 100 fine wines to accent your dinner. You'll dine in one of the 8 elegant dining rooms with a crackling fireplace. The Fox and Hound sits in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest. It is spectacular, a Wisconsin must-see. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east and in the shadows of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. Celebrate Valentine's Day tonight with your love and a free dinner. Don't forget that free dessert. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
Don't worry about a thing.
We don't have anything to worry about on a Thursday afternoon, not when Aaron is on the board. Thank you for that, sir. You know, when I walked in here a couple hours ago, I was pretty annoyed with the state of the world. 2.5 hours later, I'm feeling like every little thing is going to be all right. I'm Joe Zepecki. Thanks for sticking with us on News Talk 620 WTMJ. Wanted to have a little more fun, keep it loose. You know, we've got a political power hour tomorrow morning. I got to save some of my political hot takes. So the reason for the Bob Marley cue, we touched on this briefly when Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley was in studio. You can't get away from the marketing for the movie One Love, the Bob Marley story, starring Kingsley Benadir. We've got a few screens up here in studio, and Kingsley Benadir was just on the Tamron Hall show promoting the movie. It feels like every time I turn on the TV, there's an ad, and I gotta say, this movie's doing it for me. Like, I'm going to go check this out. I also mentioned that my better half and I were talking about having that be our Valentine's Day date, and then she came down with a very bad cold. So we didn't do anything at all. She went to bed early, and I played video games. So I want to know from our listeners, what do you want to go see? It's kind of the quiet time for movies, but I'm kind of a huge nerd about a couple different things. If you listen to me talk about politics or history, you know what a nerd I am there. But also a fun fact about Joe Zepecki, and actually this one would have been good in the How Old Was Your Host? A good contextual clue. When I was in high school and college, I worked as an assistant manager at Blockbuster Video. So movies have always been very near and dear to my heart. And I think the number, like in the power rankings of movies that are out right now that I want to see, I've got One Love at number 1. What do you want to go see? What are you excited about? It's Oscar season. The Academy Awards are right around the corner. We do know that frequently after the nominations come out, there's some renewed interest in stuff that came out last year. Join the conversation on the talk and text line, 855-616-1620. What are you excited about seeing? What are you going to go hate watch? I'm going to go hate watch something probably because, again, I'm a huge nerd about a number of different things. Politics, history, movies, comic book, Marvel Comic Universe. So yeah, Aaron, I'm probably going to go see Madam Web. It looks awful. It looks like the worst Spider-Man movie you could possibly imagine. And I'm going to go see it. I'm a sucker. Really, why not? Where do you come down on the Spider-Verse and Madam Web? Not for you?
I got lost at some point, you know? Like, there are so many different Spider-Mans now, and I got lost after Tobey Maguire, honestly.
I think it's kind of like attorneys general. The plural is it's actually Spiders Man now.
Yeah.
So in the last movie from Marvel and Sony, Spider-Man No Way Home, there were Spiders Man, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland.
Yeah, they saw each other, right? It was like in the film.
The multiverse collided.
Oh, yeah.
And so this Madam Web, is kind of like the Morbius one. Are you familiar with Morbius?
Not too well, no.
These are some dark corners of the internet, man. The Morbius Hive, which was apparently the worst movie released in the last 20 years. And it was sort of like a modern-day day-walking vampire Dracula type situation. I didn't see it. I can't go that far. Madam Web? And the reason for this is where we are in our entertainment industry. If Sony does not make a picture in the Spider-Man universe, within that intellectual property universe, by a time certain after their last one, they lose the rights. And then Marvel can go get back the Spider-Man intellectual property and make Spider-Man movies on their own.
Oh, I see what's going on here.
So,
then.
All right. The lawyers messed this up. And as a result, Sony, every couple of, it feels like months, but it's probably years, has to develop another movie that doesn't even necessarily have to have Spider-Man in it. It can have Kraven the Hunter or Madam Web or Morbius or the Vulture in it. And it all sounds terrible. And for those of you who don't like comic books or the Marvel Comic Universe, I'm sorry. I told you, I'm a nerd. And this is what passes for like popcorn, broad appeal, 4-quadrant entertainment these days. And I'm just confessing to the world that I'm probably going to go see a pretty bad movie.
So this Madam Web thing, it came from is it like a comic book origin? Or?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is. So it is within the broader Spider-Man universe.
Okay.
That Madam Web is a character, as I understand it.
Right.
And
Okay.
And
I'd never heard of it until recently.
Nor had I. But here we go. Now, speaking of bad movies, there's another movie that is out right now that I thought, based on the trailer, looked amazing. Argyle, with a cast that includes, everybody from Dua Lipa to Samuel L. Jackson, sort of a murder mystery, looked very fun, very much like an action, excitement flick. And it's out, and it's just getting killed. The reviews are terrible. And I still think I'm going to go see it, because that's where we are. Those 3 movies that are out right now are the only things that I can imagine going to the theater to watch. What say you, listeners? Tell me what I'm missing. 855-616-1620. And if I'm going to see all 3 of them in the theater, which honestly, looking at the calendar at this point, probably isn't going to happen. I'd like it to. There is something coming very soon that I am genuinely excited about, which is Dune Part 2 from Denis Villeneuve. And I'm getting a nod from Aaron suggesting that he is also in on Dune Part 2.
So I haven't seen the original. But I've been told by everybody I know.
The original or the first part of this series?
The first part of this series. Correct. Yeah, sorry. Correction there.
Why not?
You know what? Every time I'm on Netflix or wherever it's at right now, I see it and I'm like, I got to watch it. And then I just scroll right past it. I don't know what goes on in my head.
Similar experience. And I don't want this to be the solve for you, but here's what it was for me. I think I get a little intimidated by the length of movies.
Right.
And I am a completionist, and I am somebody who I want to respect the art. So when I sit down and I start it, I want to finish it.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's like sighing or rolling my eyes when we're watching as a family, and it's like, I got to use the bathroom, and I got to pause it. I got to go get more popcorn, we got to pause it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you sit down, you have your stuff, and you watch the movie. So when it's a longer movie, it can be a little intimidating. I had COVID last month. So I kind of got locked down in the basement. And I thought, you know what? I got 3 hours to kill. And so I fired up Dune, which I had heard amazing things about, and it delivered. So I am now excited for Dune Part 2. If you like any of the big sagas, like Star Wars, for example, Dune was sort of an influential text for the makers of those movies. So there's lots of like influences that it has had. Very cool story. Very well done. I recommend Dune Part 1. I am very interested in Dune Part 2. And no, it does not have anything to do with the ridiculous popcorn cup. Have you seen this? There was a sketch on SNL. There's a sandworm in Dune. It's a sort of a key figure. And so they made the top of the popcorn bucket look like the jaws of the sandworm. You're thinking Sarlacc, like the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars. Big, ugly critter, just all teeth. It's not a good look. Anyways, nobody likes the movies anymore because nobody is weighing in on the text line. That's okay. We'll be out of here soon. Come on back. News Talk 620 WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki. More after the break.
It's time to say aloha to paradise. Picture powder soft sand, endless turquoise waters, and a frosty cocktail by a beach lounger. Fox World Travel is proud to partner with Apple Vacations to offer exclusive deals that will take you to your dream getaway. With great deals to Hawaii, Fiji, St. Lucia, or the best all-inclusive resorts in Mexico and the Caribbean, our travel experts take the hassle out of traveling to paradise. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call 866-GO-FOX-GO to speak with our vacation travel experts today.
Sandy Max here with an awesome opportunity from my friends at Three Pillars, Wisconsin's top-rated senior living community in beautiful Lake Country. Three Pillars is hiring assisted living caregivers and really needs folks for the overnight shifts. Pay rates start at $20 an hour, plus they'll give you a $2,000 bonus if you apply and receive an offer by February 29th. Great place, greater cause, making a huge difference in the lives of others. And you make $2,000 before you even start. Go to 3pillars.org and click the Careers tab to learn more. That's 3pillars.org.
As an independent tire and service center, our loyalty is to you, not the manufacturer.
It's the tire manufacturer's goal to design a superior tire.
But it's our job to ensure the right tires are properly installed on your vehicle.
A service our family has been independently providing for the past 2 generations. So make no mistake about it, our loyalty is to you.
And the dozens of tire brands we carry, like Goodyear, General, and Pirelli,
or Continental, Kelly, and Dunlop, well, that's for you too.
Because we won't know what type of tire you need until you get here.
So instead, we carry them all.
Because we install them all.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair.
Which means you're 100% covered.
No questions asked.
I guess you could call it family tradition.
Be safe, buckle up, and hey.
Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're
due for service.
Rich Lawns Tire and Service. Such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
Welcome back to News Talk 620 WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki, filling in for Kristen Bry, live in studio. What a wonderful surprise on a Thursday afternoon. How am I doing? I'm just trying to keep the seat warm for you, but I'm not even sitting in the seat.
You're not even sitting in the seat. You are standing. I think that's a good move because you get more energy when you stand. When I used to be a cold caller, it was my first job out of college. That was a recommendation: is stand up and get the energy while you're cold calling and getting hung up on, rather than just sitting there and taking it.
Dare I ask what you were selling with these cold calls?
Salesforce.com consulting services.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand what Salesforce was at the time.
I'd have been standing too. Kristen is a longtime friend of mine, and I am so excited that your new show will be launching next week,
Monday.
How you feeling? Are you jazzed? Are you nervous? Do you have too much work to do?
All
Where
of the
are we?
above. All of the above.
Just a glass case of human emotion.
Yes. I don't know what to do with my hands. No, I'm very excited. I have been here for a couple weeks getting ready for the show, reaching out to lots of people, planning ahead of time. We have rotating co-hosts joining me each day. You will likely be one of them.
Moi?
I don't know if we've set a date yet, but of course you'll be here, and I'm excited to talk about stories from all over the state as we, sometimes get very into our bubble of the part of the state that we live in.
Yep.
And the stories that feel very local to us, but understanding how things as far away as Superior and Rhinelander connect us as a state. And that means sometimes more serious policy stuff, but it's also, I'm starting to collect this never have I ever list of Wisconsin things. And some I've done, some I haven't done. But have you gone ice fishing?
Yes.
Have you gone buck hunting?
No. Unless you count the digital critters at your wedding. I went buck
there's
hunting.
a picture of you at my wedding
There's an
playing
epic
big
picture of Kristen and I at her wedding playing big buck hunter at, what was the bar?
Deer Camp.
At Deer Camp.
And so finding these really fun things that make Wisconsin, and finding a way to tell those stories on the radio that are very evergreen and always fun to learn about and hear about.
And if I know you, you'll find a way to keep it topical. And that's, like, to me, that's the hard part, but it's the really fun part. We had State Senator Brad Pfaff on
nice.
The show today, who represents Western Wisconsin, the Cooley region. It's a beautiful part of the state. If you haven't been out in Western Wisconsin, you got to go. It doesn't matter what time of year. It's so different. And yeah, he was talking about some bills he has before the legislature that impact all of us, but he was also sharing some perspective on the challenges facing rural hospitals, for just one example.
Absolutely. And that is one of the stories that maybe I'll have Brad back, but that is one of the stories that I think we, specifically in Southeast Wisconsin, because it's the most densely populated area in the state, is we have better access to healthcare and healthcare providers versus a lot of the state does not. You have a face right now. Did something happen behind me?
I have a face because I got told to sit my butt down because apparently my big jug blocks that camera behind me. And when you have the wonderful Kristen Bry in studio, you want to see Kristen Bry. And now you can. I'm sorry, folks, on the live stream for the obstructed view that you were getting. It was, I guess, being like in the back rows at Miller Park, obstructed view only. How's it looking back there? This actually leads into the thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
Very serious topic. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We played a little game earlier. How old is the host? How old is fill-in Joe Zepecki?
Who decided to bring that topic
Well, I
up?
did, because there was just an absolutely epic text, and if I can find it again quickly, I will read it again, because it was incredible. I made a joke. Aaron was asking what my decade was for music, and then he kind of figured out what music I would be into, and things spiraled from there, and we had some fun. Oh my God, there's a ton of these texts. I think I missed some of them, but people were guessing all over the place. The one that started it all was this is great radio. Let me tell you that right now. They should hire somebody.
I should
permanently
probably
for
talk.
this
So
role.
while you're looking,
Yeah.
I can keep talking about what the show is.
How old do you think I am? Or
I
talk
think
about your show?
I know that you're in your early 40s.
Here we go. From the 414, so he said, Joe is probably about 46 or 47, but he could pass for being in his 30s.
Oh.
I don't see any telltale patterns of incorrect just for men usage on his scalp or beard, but Joe may have just figured out how to use it inconspicuously since he's a smart guy.
Do you recognize the number? Is that a friend or a
I
foe?
don't. It's probably a foe. So we played a little game, and then once Tom from Hartford finally got it, we got a caller on the line. He nailed it, but he had kind of cheated because he had heard me say how old I was on the Political Power Hour.
Ah.
And now we've got folks in the text line saying like, "Oh, you're a millennial."
Are you an elder millennial? Are you one of the first millennials?
This is my question, and this is the conversation I want to have with you.
Okay.
I don't think of myself as a millennial. I think I'm like on the cusp, and I think...
You 82, 83?
I was born in 82.
Okay.
And I am a proponent, an advocate for the idea of a micro-generation between Gen X and millennials, known as Zennials, which is like 1978 to 1982. Do you buy this theory?
Zennials already used for the other end of that bracket for the millennial into Gen Z?
It's really X-Zennials, but that doesn't sound right.
It's also not how you pronounce words that start with an X.
I was told there would be no pronouncing word. Oh, wait, it's radio. It's all pronouncing words.
So you don't feel like you belong to either generation. Is that what you're telling me?
Right. I'm squarely betwixt and between them. And as someone who knows me a little bit better than the average listener, I'm wondering if you buy this. Because I don't think I present as a millennial.
You don't present as millennial. You do present more. I'm going to be honest. You present more as Gen X.
Yeah. Closer.
But you're kind of an old soul like that.
I am. And I always have been.
And so and I feel like your movie references, your music references, more Gen X than millennial.
Okay.
I think. But you're the same age as my brother. And so, yeah, they're both 82. My husband's 83. I mean, even as 86 for me, I feel on the upper end of millennials.
Do you consider yourself an elder millennial?
An elder millennial? Yes.
Okay.
I think those of us who remember distinctly having to dial up on AOL as our first
Kids
interactions.
Today, if they hear that noise, they don't know what it is.
No idea. And even I was listening to a podcast where the hosts were talking about their children, their young children now, who have no idea what like appointment viewing is, right?
Oh, right.
Of like the fact that right now for children, my child will be raised in this way that at any time I can put on any episode of any show ever on YouTube or any of the other streaming services and let her watch that episode. Versus I still remember coming home from school and having to just watch what was ever on TV.
Yeah. Chippendale Rescue Rangers,
Xena, Warrior
Tailspin.
Princess, Hercules, Kevin Sorbo, man. I was a fan back in the day.
And Saturday morning cartoons. You would actually get up, at a scheduled time to watch your show on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Or Snick.
What was Snick?
Snick was the lineup on Nickelodeon on Saturday nights. And it was All That, which was basically the kids' version of SNL. And that was so often, it was TGI Fridays on ABC and Snick on Saturdays. And that was a large part of my weekends as a child.
There you go. And this is how you get to know your daily host coming at you next week. That's Kristen Bry. I'm Joe Zepecki. We got to take a break, but more with Kristen and Joe after this.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, best-selling author and founder of the Neal Group. I have some questions for you. Who does your books? Hopefully not you. There are better things for you to do in running your business. Do you trust the numbers? Good numbers are critical for making good decisions. Are you getting the advice you need to minimize your taxes and put more money in your pocket? A good advisor makes suggestions to help your business grow and minimize taxes, not just put numbers on a form. Do your calls get returned and your questions answered? Many of our new clients tell us they love our quick response time. We have helped countless businesses increase their profits and lower stress. Get the advice you want and need to grow your business and minimize taxes. If you want to get started on the road to making more money and having less stress, visit neilgroup.net right now. That's NEAL group.net. The first meeting is free to see if we can help. Again, neilgroup.net.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, clicked on the blue button. One of our senior loan consultants, Brad, sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and then upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. They made a couple offers without success, and then Brad told them about AccuNet's new property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval included that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with a local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win and save money, too. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
988 Wisconsin Lifeline. How can I help you?
Share hope, find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. The 988 Wisconsin Lifeline provides free and confidential support to anyone experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis. Staffed by Family Services, 988 has experienced tremendous growth, and more statewide counselors are needed to answer calls, texts, and chats to the Lifeline. If you want to share hope and find purpose in your next job, apply now. You can work remotely from anywhere in Wisconsin. Training is provided and flexible hours are available. 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselors enjoy competitive compensation and benefits packages. Most importantly, you can share hope and find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. Apply today at 988lifelinecounselor.org. Family Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Paid for by grants from SAMHSA and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Welcome back to News Talk 620 WTMJ. I'm Joe Zepecki, sitting in ahead of next week when we'll be spanning the state with Kristen Bry. She's with me for one more. I guess we think of Cougar Mellencamp as music I look like or sound like I listen to, when really what I got for Valentine's Day was the new Green Day album on vinyl.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it good?
I've not listened to all of it. The single's pretty good. The American Dream is killing me. Love punk rock. I also find it absolutely hysterical that at 41 years old, I have lived long enough to see Green Day advertising in Times Square. I was in New York City last month, and I'm walking through Times Square, and there is punk rock band Green Day in neon lights in the most like commercial block of America. It was really something.
Green Day also had their music made into a musical.
That's true.
Did you ever see it?
I did not see it. The rock opera American Idiot, of course, a very important album in my life. I mean, like, listen, Dookie was the first one.
Okay.
And then American Idiot, two really important albums in my life. So more contextual clues going to the fact that I am an Xennial or more Gen X than I am a millennial. And we've got somebody from the 414 who says, I agree fully. They were born in 1981, and they say their life experience and education is so much different from those born later 80s and in the 90s. No phone until college, and all it did was call. School papers were handwritten. We didn't have a computer. Yeah, it like the way I've heard it described is that
we had to learn cursive.
Yeah, we did. That like the particular moment I was born at, I grew up alongside the technology that would define the age in a way that is unique. So I remember classrooms that had no computers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember classrooms that had the Apple IIe, just like the green digits on the black screen. And then I had the classrooms with the first MacBooks, right? And so the technologies grew as I was growing, and they were always brand new. And like when I went to college, I did take a computer, but
Did you have one of the big Mac, like colorful with the big back?
No, I was a PC.
Okay.
And honestly still am. So the monitor weighed like 70 pounds, right? Like every screen in here combined weighs less than the monitor and the tower I had to haul up the stairs to my third story walk up when I was in college.
My husband in our garage right now still has his college PC tower. And I'm like, what's on there? And he goes, there's important stuff on there I don't want to get rid of.
I'm not even joking. I might need that because I don't have the tower anymore, but I found a bunch of discs and I would love
floppy
to see
disk or hard?
The colorful, not the big floppy ones. They were smaller, but they were firm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I might need to use his computer to see
what's on them.
To see what I was writing when I was in college.
I saw a great, I'm pretty sure it was a TikTok of a teacher who was probably a millennial showing different artifacts, we'll call them, from the 90s to their 7-year-old students.
Okay.
And having the students guess
what
those were. And one
dear
was a
God.
hard disk. And I don't even know what the kids guessed, but everything you could imagine. It's like your first sociology 101 class when they show you some artifacts and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? And they're like, oh, it's used to brush your hair. It's like the fork from Little Mermaid.
There you go. We got a question from Ken from Heartland. You reminded him of something when talking about the way that the internet used to make noise when it dialed up. Ken would like to know if we ever used a rotary dial phone hardwired into the wall. You go first.
As a child.
Yes, same. The other one that strikes me is when I was like a teenager, phones were just so different. So
did your family have a wireless phone?
Eventually.
It was a really big deal when our family got one because it's a family of a bunch of people with ADHD, and that phone was never charged.
Well, so what I was thinking about was upstairs. You go upstairs, parents' bedroom, bathroom, brother's room, my room, sister's room. So what you had was a phone that plugged into the wall, but it had a really long cord, so you could take it into your the 25-foot long telephone cord, so you could take the whole phone with you into your bedroom to, in my case, talk to my girlfriend when I was in high school.
So was the receiver mounted on the wall, or could you take the receiver with you with the long cord?
It was one. I don't even know what you would call them, but it was like the way it would sit flat on a table, and then you would pick up the headset part of it.
So no one, because I would imagine there could have been with siblings. I'm sure in our house, had the phone been mounted on the wall and my brother been like, it's my turn to talk on the phone, he would have just hung up the phone and been like, give it to me. And since he was 4 years older, I probably would have had to.
This is actually kicking up some great zip drives.
Yes.
Is a memory. Somebody from the 414 worked on a card reader system that ran on an 8-inch floppy disk. And if you showed that to the 15-year-old,